Coffee with KetoSimple. My name is Dustin. I'm so glad you're here. This stream will be starting soon, so grab your coffee, get comfortable, and settle in. We're building a strong and supportive community, so say hello in the chat, ask questions, and feel free to use super chats if there's anything that you want to see highlighted. Thank you for being here and being a part of this journey. Let's keep it positive and respectful as we connect and grow together. I can't wait to get started. Oh, hello there. Welcome back to Sunday morning with me. Coffee in hand and everything. Well, it's right here. Well, the real wasn't in my hand, but it's right here. Bucky mug and all. How are all you guys doing? Oh, excuse me. My bad. It's going to be a little bit of a different show today. A little stripped down, not so organized. Not a whole lot to talk about today. So if you guys keep the chat going and you guys are having questions and stuff you want to talk about, we can make it those 3 hours, most likely. But if you guys are just like falling asleep on me, then maybe we may not last that long because I've been up all night. I had a birthday party last night for a friend of mine. It was our 40th birthday party. We've been friends for eons. We've been friends since I don't even know how. I don't even think she was 18 when we became friends. I don't even know how. Like just shows and bands and stuff and all that, and like a little sister to me. And had to be there. Had to spend time with them here today. Because on Saturday nights, if I go out and do things like that, then I get home. I can't go to bed because I gotta stay up because I don't want to wake Chandra up because she works early in the morning. And here we are. So made sure her uniform was all ready to go. Made sure her lunch was packed, her coffee was made, and got her out the door on time. And I'm excited to be here with all of you today. And it looks like Mr. Rick, Mr. Quack himself, you know, Dark is what we're doing here. So Darkwing Duck, Mr. Quack himself had a little bit of a thing there. I don't know what happened with that. But anyway, we're here. We're having a good time. It's Sunday, favorite day of the week with all of you. Oh, and Evelyn is here. Good morning, Evelyn. She says, good morning, friends. And Cindy DeManchi. Cindy DeManchi's here. Yes. Rick is watching from the swamps of Miami, hoping for ducks and iguanas to fall into his lap. And Sherry is here. Good morning. Getting ready for work, listening in. Well, I appreciate you being here. Totally appreciate that. I'm so glad to see your bright and smiley face. Just gonna assume that it's bright and smiley because I'm on the screen. Yes. Evelyn says, please tell us where you're watching from. Are you working on any challenges? Do you have any wins or struggles to share this week? Yes. Yes, we want to celebrate your losses. You celebrate your losses. Reverse that. Celebrate your wins, commiserate your losses, but here to make you feel and understand that you are enough. I had to tell my friend, it was her birthday party. She had gone to a cookout earlier in the day, and she said she didn't quite fit in. She didn't think that she was cool enough to be there, that, that they seemed, more grown up and better. And we've all been there. And I said, you know what? You are good enough. You are better because I know you. And I know what you're made of. You're good people. And I know we all feel that way. We all show up to events and we don't know who, we don't know people or we don't know everybody who's there. And we feel less than. And that was one of the things that happened with me when Shannon and I first got together. We would go to the kids' events at school. And all the other parents were like parenting and seemed like adults and grown up. And I've felt like a teenager still. I'm like, I don't belong here. But as I've grown even further, I understand that just because they can look the part doesn't mean they are any better than, what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't want to grow up because if I did, I couldn't be a Toys R Us kid. I had Children's Palace. I don't know if you guys had any of those, but I remember Children's Palace was a lot of fun. Toys R Us, obviously. KB Toys, FAO Schwartz, depending on what part of the country you're in. We had a FAO Schwartz for a very brief time, but, you know. But anyway, I've been gabbing and I haven't had any coffee yet. We're six whole minutes in and I haven't had any coffee? That's crazy. Mm. Mm. I love it. I didn't have as much cream as I'd like today, so I had to put a little bit of milk in my coffee. So it's not as amazing as it normally is, but there's a lot of butter, a little bit of milk, and some cream in there. Brian says, "Good morning, everyone. Looks like we survived the 4th. We did this year. I'm going to say this year was probably one of the best 4th of Julys, especially like the months leading up to the 4th of July, because I don't know about where you are. Typically, people start lighting off fireworks in like June and they don't stop like every night. Pop, 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 pop. Like the bottle rockets, the whistling. It just goes and goes and goes and goes. But this year, I didn't hear anything until like maybe Thursday night. And then my Friday night, when we laid down Friday night to go to sleep, I'd gone with the kids to a carnival, and they were going to do the fireworks there. But I left because Chandra got home and just wanted, go home and be with her. We got laid down, and the fireworks cut off at a reasonable time. I thought, like 1:00 in the morning on a Friday night, on holiday Friday night. So I thought, this is probably one of the best 4th of Julys on record. I mean, maybe it's people didn't have thousands of dollars like normal to spend on fireworks or whatever, but it was kind of nice not having it nonstop going and going and going from June all the way till now. And even like, I don't know, I didn't heard some last night, but I wasn't in my own neighborhood. But yeah. Oh, let's see. People saying hello to each other. John Gugahan is here. He says, "Good morning. I didn't have a 30-minute alert and thought maybe you were taking today off. I don't take days off if I can help it. I set it up really late. So I was going to set it up as soon as Shannon walked out the door, but I was in the middle of a TV show. So how many of you like Guy Ritchie? If you guys don't know who Guy Ritchie is, like Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels, a bunch of movies like that, like the whole like London mob type, gangster, tough guy kind of movies, Jason Statham and all that stuff, right? Well, he's got this show he's directing the show. It's called Mobland. And it's based in London, and it's got Pierce Brosnan, and it's got Tom Hardy and a bunch of people that I don't know who they are. They're all English people, but it is so riveting. I'm like 3 episodes in. So I'm about to be on the 4th episode. So good. So good. Just, it's hard for me to find a TV show that keeps me going and boom, boom, boom. Like Bob's Burgers is like that. And we love Resident Alien with Alan Tudyk, But anyway, we got Rick says, "Quack, quack, shucky-ducky, quack, quack." Sherry says, "Watching from Finleyville, Pennsylvania. Seriously contemplating starting Triple B&E this week to get a handle on things. Do it. Do it, do it, do it." As far as Triple B&E goes, I bought 20 pounds of grass-fed, grass-finished Kirkland frozen hamburger patties, and I'm gonna be enjoying those for this month. Um, I've been doing pretty good. I've had some sausage. I really, it seems like whenever Triple B&E goes, and I just like really have a craving for breakfast sausage. So there's that, you know. Well, there's some fireworks at 7:40 a.m. There you go. Nothing like 7:40 a.m. fireworks. That's crazy. They're just fireworks going off in the morning. Like that, or there's small arms fire. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. I guess I'll know if it's fireworks or small arms fire if I hear sirens anytime soon. Woo! Rick says, or 9.5 hours. Did you stream for 9.5 hours yesterday? I was so tired. I came into your chat and then like I was asleep, I think, before you even really kicked off. I was so tired. I was in there like way before you started, and then you kicked off, and I think I rolled over and woke up and you were still going. And then I had to go down to Bloomington. I had to go to Bloomington, Indiana, which is like over an hour away from me because my son wanted to buy some Legos from Facebook Marketplace, and I had to be there for support just in case. Like, you never know what's going to happen. We met at a Kroger. We didn't meet at their house, but you know how we do. Yeah, Sherry says she didn't get the thing either. It's because I didn't make it till like 7:23. It's fine. It's totally fine. I think I'm getting some weird latency here because um this is a Evelyn has a Evelyn has this. She's like, good morning to Rick and Cindy. And then I don't have any more. Yeah, I don't have any more comments there on the screen. That's weird. I hate that there's no way to like reset that. Let me do something here real quick. We'll see what happens. There we go. There's my chat. There we go. Let me know if you can hear me or see me. Looks like I'm frozen. Frozen. That's awful rude. Can you still hear me? Let's try this again. There we are, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. You see me? We're here. We're here. We're here. John says, I'm making you all dizzy. All right, let me go back up and we'll hit these. We'll hit these things. We'll talk about the stuff because we got Evelyn is here. We knew Evelyn was here, but let's go to get back here. Oh, a lot of comments missing here. That's crazy. Okay. All right, let's see what's going on. Okay, Sean's in the house. Good morning, Sean, my good buddy Sean. you haven't met Sean, he's pretty guy. He's a pretty nice guy. Pretty good guy. I like him a lot. Andy is a good friend of mine. And Susan, how you doing, Susan? Yeah, just gonna say good morning, and I hope you're resting well, my dear, you know. Anyway, hi all, relaxing weekend. It's been a long time since I've done nothing for more than 48 hours. Today will be much of the same because this coming week is going to be an emotional freaking mess. Oh, goodness. Jeff Foltz is from Botvia, Ohio. Jeffafa. Botvia, Ohio, home of Jeffafa. In the morning. John says, yesterday I cut my bike ride a little short so I could get home in time for Carnival Quest Live, 11:30 a.m., but didn't realize they weren't going live on the weekends. Okay. And Cindy is watching from Kentucky. 10,000 steps a day. Epic fail Thursday came close yesterday. Not feeling good today, so probably another epic fail. Hey. We're here. You know, you don't need to do it. I don't know. Where did we come up with that 10,000 step stuff anyway? I mean, I don't know. I struggle to get like 4,000, 5,000 steps a day. And I mean, you know, I probably had maybe 3,000 steps yesterday. I mean, that's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Oh, everybody's saying hello. And he said, we have a long-time friend with multiple autoimmune complications, and her support systems have abandoned her. Susan and I have stepped up temporarily until they can make better arrangements. Well, that's what friends are for. I do love. I mean, I don't like to hear that, you know, you have people with a lot of issues, but I'm glad you guys are stepping up, showing the love. You're being there for your friend. I don't know what's better than that. And he says carnivore could heal her, but she won't do it, following her doctor's instructions, which are making her worse over time. I know. That's gonna be a big problem for a lot of us. We have family, we have friends, and we see them. I've talked with friends, and he's like, you know what? You know, I just can't. He's like, I'm gonna go for, you know, a very balanced approach. I just couldn't do those things. And, you know, I really think I just need a balanced approach. And I'm like, I mean, you can't be there to argue with them because it doesn't get us anywhere. You want them to do what's best for them, and you want them to hopefully get better. But, you know, we can't make them do it. That's the problem. Aaron is in the house, bringing the sunshine, making the coffee, bringing all the goats, Miss Booby Goats herself. Oh, yeah. Amy is here. She says, hi, everyone. Still snoozing. She's snoozing. So watching in the background. And Rick says, you never watch TV. Or he never watched TV. Well, you know what? Sometimes we do. We do unless we don't. Yeah, I never watch TV. Well, that's cool for you, Rick. You do things that Rick likes. I don't watch a lot of, I watch a lot of YouTube on the TV, but I don't watch a lot of TV. Typically, the TV I watch is Shander and I watching TV together. I watch a lot of YouTube. I put YouTube on when I'm doing stuff around the house, and I'm watching lives and typing on my phone and all that stuff. Amy says, we love Mobland. Woo, it's good. I love that. I just love, like, is it bad that I wish that I could be that, like, badass and just be, like, ultra violent and just make things happen? I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. It's just sort of, I watch that stuff and I always want to be like, oh, why can't that be me? But I'm like, I'm such a big softy. I wouldn't last in that environment. I'm too much of a softy. People are saying hello. And then Christian Delorme, Vinyl Revival. Christian says, bonjour, everybody from Le Collier, Quebec. That's what I'm going to go with. Andy says, we're watching The Pit on Max. Loved watching ER in the old days, so watching Noah Wiley adulting is really cool. I watched like one episode of that. I don't think it was the first episode. Might have been like the second, third, or fourth. It was around Chandra's birthday time. I think it was a Tuesday night. I think it was a night that we missed live, and we bumped it to Thursday, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I had to go pick up a bunch of pizzas for everybody in the house, and I got back with the pizzas and all the drinks. So I went through and got all the drinks from McDonald's because it's way cheaper than buying drinks from the pizza place. And then I got back and they're already watching it, and I'm like, it's like, I know that's what Chandra did. Well, she doesn't work ER or like the ED, the emergency department, but she works at ICU. But it's like watching, do you want to come home and watch what you just did all day? You know, like when I was in the room with my kids a little while ago, and one of them was playing like a truck driving simulator, and I'm like, is that what you want to do? You want to sit here and work, like drive a big rig? I don't know. And I remember one of the boys at one point was trying to play this game called like Half Cooked, or I don't know, it was something, but it was like the point of the game was to make food and get it out and hit goals. And I was just like, I would just go stand in the corner, and you hit a button and they would cuss. That was me. I just go stand in the corner and cuss. That's what I would do. Because I'm like, this game is dumb. I don't want to work a minimum wage job for free. I don't want to do that. That doesn't sound fun at all to me. Kitchen Witches here. Tanya says, just woke up. What did I miss? Nothing, because I'm a weirdo. It's fine. There we go. There we go. Guinea pigs in the house. Shaylin, hello from Stony Creek, Pennsylvania. All the way on the other side. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know. Yeah, I was frozen, but I'm not now. I let it go. John says, you're making me dizzy. Let it go. Let it go. Hello, all. We need a good name for this group. I don't even know. And you're back. There we go. We're back. We're back. We're back. Rebecca's in the house. Glad to see you, Rebecca. Good thing that you're here. I hope you are having a wonderful day. Ooh. Rebecca says, anyone got any immediate relief advice for constipation? Not sure why my stomach is not working as I eat enough fat. I say magnesium citrate. I mean, you can get the liquid, but I would say just take a couple of capsules of magnesium citrate, and you should be and drink a bunch of water, and you'll be having a good time, or not so good time. You know how to mean. Just says, yeah, it's 5 miles for most people. 10,000 steps, 5 miles. Whew, it's crazy stuff. Christian says 10,000 steps was created by a Japanese marketing company. It was adopted in the West as a healthy exercise. I understand, like, you know, the goal isn't and this is one of the things, like, Evelyn kind of, you know, building on that, is my goal is intentional movement every day. I'm working my way back up to my daily step challenge. Yeah, I'm just kind of like, I just move as much as I can in the day, but like, just one of those things, like, I don't have a lot of time to just go and walk. I mean, I could probably make the time, you know, but what gets given up, you know? John said, had to Google the Who sang, that's just the way it is. Some things will never change. I don't know what's going on here. Bruce Hornsby. Christian Delorme says, last night, Mel and I watched one of my favorite trucker movies, Big Trouble in Little China. I need to watch that again. It's been like so long, so long. Cindy said, my PC was acting up, so now you're on the big screen. That's right, big star, who I am, shooting star. Yeah. Evelyn says, you could use your sultry voice for Carl. He's sleeping while watching this morning. Well, Carl, I just want you to know that we're here for you. And while you slumber, just think of the coffee that you could be drinking. But you're snoozing instead. Just think about it. The soothing, relaxing sipability of that hot, warm, creamy beverage. Just, yeah. I am ridiculous. Anyway, Brian said, Dustin, why didn't you make it to Pittsburgh for the Beard and Mustache Championship? Well, I wasn't A, invited, B, had no clue it was happening. And I don't think that I wouldn't even make it the top 100. Yeah, Sean said, we went to see the new Jurassic Park movie yesterday. Not a good movie. Sean and I were pretty disappointed. I watched the Critical Drinker's review of this movie, and I don't know if you've ever watched Critical Drinker, but he's pretty harsh on movies, and he likes some things that I thought he would hate or whatever, but I watched, if you want to go over to, and after this live, Sean, watch the Critical Drinker. He did a review on it, and let me know what you think if what he says is what you felt watching it. Because I was like, I enjoy those Jurassic Park movies. I really love the first Jurassic Park movie, and I like the first Jurassic World. I love Chris or whatever his name is, the guy the guy that was in it, and he's also Space Lord. You know what I mean? Star Lord, Space Lord. That's a line from a Monster Magnet song. Space Lord, mother. Anyway, I'm loopy. It's gonna get weird. It's gonna get real weird, and I hope you're ready for it. Are you here for it? It's gonna get real weird. I mean, while you guys are here anyway, right? You said Batavia wrong. I figured, especially if that was Batavia. I'm just saying. I did what I had with what I had. John Guggenheim said, and the range. Tanya says, hi, and I was born in 1974. I was born in 1979. The soothing sounds of 1979. Charlie's in the house. Good morning, Charlie. I hope you're doing fantastic, my friend. Rebecca said, thanks, Dustin. Just taking some mag citrate. Yeah, mag citrate is one of those things that'll just it'll get you moving, and then it won't stop. You'll be like, all right, stop. And it's like, I ain't gonna listen. Yeah, Chris Pratt. Yeah, that's his name. I'm glad you guys are here because my brain is shut off. So we're flying by the seat of our pants, and it's gonna get weird. It's gonna get very, very weird. Very weird indeed. But so I've seen some things watching lives this last week. I've watched a bunch of lives. So I was on Carnivore Talk for the very first time Monday night, and was with Rick and all the I'm guessing Rick, and you can fill me in. I'm still a little green on what's going on over on that channel and who and what their names are. I should have remembered, but my brain is just gone. But there's like 3 normal people on there. Then Rick was a guest, I was a guest, and there was a girl named Lexis Jones, I think is her name. I've asked you all to follow her. I think I even brought that up on Tuesday, and you guys delivered, and it's fantastic. And and I met her that night, and then she's been on with Thomas um a few times now. I saw her, listened to her whole story on Thomas's live on Wednesday before tuning in over to Cindy's live, where she ignored me and didn't even say my name once at all the whole time, and I totally heard everything, and I just totally know she just totally ignored me. But anyway, but for real, um um then I saw her. She joined in on Dr. Kiltz's live earlier this week, and there was something that happened on there, and I was like, I don't know that much about Dr. Kiltz. I don't mind. I think, I think he's a, I think he's a, from what I understand, a very stand-up guy, and he's a really nice guy. Um, but I kind of wonder, because I don't know, and I don't know if this is something that he's talking about a lot, but he was talking about like raw meat and raw fat and not like melting butter and stuff, and I'm like, that was like, that's pretty nuts. But I mean, I know, like, and we all listen to a lot of different creators, and I know a lot of us have our favorite creators, and but it just, that little bit had got, has me thinking, and I think there's other creators out there that I don't necessarily pay that much attention to, but I think they have some good stuff, and I think there's a lot of people out there that have a lot of good information. They also have things we don't agree with, and I think that's fine. And just like, you shouldn't agree with everything that I say either. I'm just a guy here talking about all of the things that I've gone through, and just my personal experiences. But I throw out different scenarios, and I throw out, thoughts that I have, and I'm like, well, if this is, if this is this, then what if this is like this, and we just don't know it yet? And I think, we should be questioning everything. I mean, we should be, holding Dr. Barry's feet to the fire, and Sean Baker, and everybody who's, an expert in our community. We should be holding them straight up. I mean, we should be pressing them. Like, I don't, like, if Dr. Barry says something that I don't understand or don't necessarily agree with, I'm not afraid to ask him a question, or be like, but why is it like this? Because I want to understand. Because I might be kind of, I'm not been through medical school. I'm not a doctor. I'm not any of these things. I've just watched a lot of YouTube. But the more but we learn things in this community. We've all picked up on a lot of stuff. We all have a pretty good handle on a lot of things. Some of us think carnivore is about the best thing you could ever do. Now, will carnivore work for everybody? I don't believe it will. I think carnivore is probably not good for a lot of women. Some women it works just fine for. Some women just handle it perfect. Some women don't. Some women's their hormones aren't ready for carnivore, or carnivore and their hormones don't get along. Same thing with guys. There's a lot of things that we just can't, we can't handle, and it's fine. You know, it's just, you know, let's take a look at some of these, these other things in here. Cindy's calling me a liar. That's fine. I know she's not. I know she knows that I'm just joking with her, even though I didn't hear her say my name at all. And Evelyn is asking, what's everybody drinking? I got my coffee today. I love coffee. I actually have a coffee. I'm tired. So I've got a Mountain Dew Zero here. Probably shouldn't have this, but I do. And then, because Salty has not yet bequeathed us with grape, I found this. And no, I don't know if you guys have 7-Elevens, if any of you guys have 7-Elevens near you, but 7-Eleven, well, Speedway gas stations are now basically owned by 7-Eleven, or Speedway bought 7-Eleven, or 7-Eleven bought Speedway, whatever. The closest gas station to my house is a Speedway, and they have this Replenish Zero electrolyte hydration beverage, and it's not clean. It's not the best thing you're ever going to have. You know what I mean? I mean, for the whole bottle, it's only 390 milligrams of salt, one total carb. Let's see. Calcium, there's like 50 milligrams, potassium, 120 milligrams. And then there's niacin, magnesium. Magnesium is only 20 milligrams. So it's not really a very good electrolyte, but it's grape. So I got it, and I want to try it here with you guys today because you know how I love grape. I am a big fan of grape and salty, one of my favorite electrolytes right now, doesn't have grape. So we're going to try it. What do you think? It's going to be good or no? And it's clear. It's not even purple. Not even a purple drink, you know? Ugh. Smells good. Smells like purple drink. Smells like grape soda. Again, it's kind of like how Gatorade is. There's not a ton of flavor. And I think hopefully if and when Salty makes a grape electrolyte, it'll be a lot more grapey. Tanya says she's I'm in the junior high of old age. I actually like that. That's good. Let's see. Sean says, Evelyn, I'm doing Crazy Cups Chicks chocolate peanut butter with butter and Coco Loco because more chocolate. That's how that sounds complicated. Okay, see this. So Borchell Sigilus says Sean Baker is very good. Dr. Barry is a classic charlatan. So I have some questions for you. So if this is your take, and I can't argue that this is how you feel, but I want to know why you think this. Why do you think that Dr. Barry is a charlatan? I mean, he is a character. He is a character, and I've seen him and met him, and I've seen him in person, multiple times and hear him speak. And he is very animated, and he is very showman. He has a very much showman personality when he's talking. When he's doing like conferences and he's on channel and stuff. But I've also seen him do Q&As with local people who don't know who Dr. Barry is. So he's a doctor that donates his time with Amanda Decker, who runs a low carb practitioner's clinic who helps people. So she's a nurse practitioner. So basically kind of like almost like a doctor nurse kind of thing, sort of. But she's a nurse practitioner, so she can have her own clinic. And they get together quarterly in her town of Dixon. And Dr. Barry and Nisha come out, and they have 20, 30 people come out who aren't in our community. Now, a couple of people come in who do know who who the community is, because I went with it was myself, Chris, Cook in Nashville, and Ash, and there were a couple of people in that knew who they were, not so much me. I just assume nobody knows who I am. But anyway, Dr. Barry wasn't really like his showman shelf, but he was just there as a doctor, answering questions, fielding questions about cholesterol and CAC scores and all these things. And I admit there's things that Dr. Barry may say that I don't necessarily agree with, but I don't think that qualifies him as a charlatan. I think Dr. Barry has a well-rounded outlook with the proper human diet. I don't think he's a charlatan at all, but I would like to know why you think that. So Evelyn said, I had a lemonade element. I want to know how that is. I want to try that. I just don't want to buy a whole box. And I don't want to, and like to get a free trial or a free sample thing, you got to buy like a whole box. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. And I haven't reached out to them, like, hey, will you send me a couple packets of the lemon? Aaron's got coffee. Jeff Fuss is learning about nitric oxide may help. Isn't that what you do at parties in a balloon? So that's nitrous oxide. Anyway, I don't know what nitric oxide is, so we'll look that up in a little bit. Let me star that, and we'll come back to that in a little bit. But I starred it, so I know I can find it again. And Borshell has water as always. And Debbie's Savings is in the house. And Charlie goes, Jeff, no. So I'm gonna look up and see what that is. Let's see. And John Gugahan says, I guess that means I'm in the college of old age, heading towards grad school. I love it. People are saying hi, hi, hi. Yeah, Cindy says, Dr. Barry doesn't pull punches, tells it like it is. I think sometimes he puts his foot in his mouth with some of that stuff sometimes. And even I heard him say something at KPL that I was like, oh, it was funny. But I was like, yeah. And Tanya says, someday we all graduate. That just makes it sound worse. So Rebecca is asking, Dustin, how do you make your coffee? Well, currently, we don't have a coffee maker because I don't want to invest in another coffee maker because every one we buy seems to break. And we had invested for a while with the Nespresso pods, the smaller ones, not the big wide ones, the new ones. And all the machines we've had have all just kind of went belly up. So currently, we are boiling water in a kettle. And I'm using Nescafe's instant espresso. So when this is about 5 to 6 teaspoons of that, which is about 5 to 6 shots of espresso. And typically butter, about 1/4 to 1/2 a stick, depending on how I'm feeling that day, and heavy cream. And I like to froth it real good because it kind of takes, for some reason, if you froth it, it kind of lowers the acidity, it flavor, the bitterness. It's really good, and I like it. John Gugahan says, I don't think Dr. Barry is a charlatan, but I do think a lot of people put him on a pedestal and take what he says as gospel. That's another thing that I wanted to say is I think we all kind of find our creators and people that we latch onto. And I want to say that we probably shouldn't do these things. Because like I said, I don't think there's a single creator that I think that everything they say is right. Because not a single one of them has everything figured out. Not Dr. Kiltz, Dr. Barry, Sean Baker, none of them have it all figured out. And I mean, we're all human. And to think that they're going to have it all figured out is just naivete, if you will, right? I don't have it all figured out. I'm still learning new shit every day. So, and I think we should be mindful of our creators and we should be paying attention to what they're saying and we should be questioning things if they don't make sense. So that's why, I don't think that Dr. Barry is a charlatan. That's why I want to know why Borshell thinks that, because I think it's a very valid thing to think of somebody if you think, especially in this space is very easy to have snake oil. People trying to sell supplements and all these things. And do you need those? And, and people, I think we also start to come into, when I started keto was it, right? Keto, and keto was the way. And then, well, keto wasn't good enough. Now you got to go ultra clean keto, because when I first started, it was the norm was keto, net carbs. And then everyone's like, you know what? Net carbs is good, but have you gone total carbs yet? Total carbs is the way. And then you got to go as clean as you can go keto. You know what I mean? Clean keto, that's total carbs. Only count total carbs. And then carnivore started to sneak in. Well, if you've tried clean total carb keto, but have you tried carnivore? And then it was like, well, have you done carnivore, but have you done lion diet? It's like, that's like a one-upman. It's like keep going one up. Well, this is better than if keto was great, well, get a load of carnivore because it's gonna blow your socks off. You know what I mean? I think we get into that with humans because we get into that especially in a space like this because we're all vying for attention regardless of what we say. I put a video out, I want people to watch it. I don't put hours and hours into a video for nobody to watch it. I don't come on a live for no one to be here. So we all want attention by the content that we make. Hopefully we're making compelling enough content that makes people automatically want to watch it. So I get why people may think that Dr. Barry's a charlatan. I hear that there's like beef between this one and that one and this person and that person and this person said this and I know there's drama where this creator took this recipe and made it and said it was like their own and obviously it wasn't. So we have all that stuff. So let's see what Borchell says here. Correct me if I'm wrong. I remember Dr. Barry from about 3 or 4 years ago. Maybe he changed, but anyone just pushes one-sided diet is charlatan in my book. If he changed that, I apologize. So I think if, he's very pro carnivore right now, but when I found him in like 2019, it was just keto. But realistically, he's coined the phrase proper human diet. And that's how I look at this whole thing. Is keto right for everybody? No. Is carnivore right for everybody? No. Is low carb right for everybody? No. But is whole foods what we should all be focusing on? 100%. But a potato is a whole food. If you're just going to make if you're just going to make mashed potatoes, that's a whole food. You just smash up your potato, put some butter and milk in there, butter and cream. That's a whole food. Is it low carb? Absolutely not, but it's still a whole food. I think that if we get into the minutia, or we've gotten to the point where we're so into the weeds, into the minutia, that we're starting to talk about like oxalates and we're talking about all these things, we're getting deeper and deeper because we are a community that is digging and going down these rabbit holes. We're trying to find what works best for us individually. Now, just because one person has to worry about oxalates, I don't think we all have to worry about oxalates. Should we be mindful of them? Sure. I eat a lot less almonds now because of it. I used to eat a lot of almonds. I used to make a lot of stuff out of almond flour. I don't really do that much anymore. Part of it is because I've been doing this for 9 years. So how I keto and how I, carnivore and all that stuff has shifted. You learn, you grow. So I've never really heard Dr. Barry say anything that's necessarily contradictory. He has slowly kind of gone like from keto to carnivore, but I've also heard him say, not everybody needs to do carnivore. His wife doesn't even do carnivore. Nisha basically does Nisha keto. And I'm sure that Stacy and Ken will be in here shortly if they're not already in here. And, and she uses like Maria Emmerich recipes and she grows vegetables in her garden and eats salads and okay, she does what she wants to do. She is doing what she feels is best for her. And we should be celebrating that. If somebody wants to do the lion diet, trying to see if that impacts them, we should champion that. But I don't think that, as somebody like Dr. Barry, who has learned and grown over the years, because he at first was a doctor who went by the standard American diet. He did it. He prescribed medicine and he did all this stuff. And he was he pushed the standard American diet because that's what he was told to do. That's what he was taught in medical school. And then, I saw just a thing. He was on somebody's channel the other day with a video, and he had said something along the lines that he was pre-diabetic and he was overweight. He got on like he's like 6'2", 6'3", something like that. And he's just a little bit taller than me. And he was saying, like he got to be almost 300 pounds. And he was like, I was fat. Yeah. I mean, that's, it's been getting up there, especially, if you're 6'2", 6'3". And he's like, so I turned to the the Diabetic Association's website, the American Diabetes Association website. And he's like, I follow their protocol and ate exactly what they told me to eat for 90 days and everything got worse. So he's like, one thing as a doctor, and I've heard this multiple times over the last 9 years, is most doctors, when you come in and they've been telling you to do something and you get worse, they don't think it's what they're telling you is wrong. They don't see what they're telling you is wrong. They assume that you were non-compliant. So let me say that again. If you go see your general practitioner, you go see a doctor, say you go see, your a doctor about your diabetes, and your A1C is 6.3. And he's like, okay, I want you to do this, this, and this. And then come back and we'll check your A1C again. And you go and you follow it to the best of your ability. And you come back and now it's 6.6. They assume that you did not do what they told you to do. They will assume that you were non-compliant. And there's been other pieces of that stuff happening across history with medical. So that's like when somebody would come up with fatty liver disease. Doctors would just assume you were an alcoholic or you drank too much. And it didn't matter what the person would say. But I don't drink. How could I have fatty liver disease? How could I have alcoholic fatty liver disease if I don't drink, doc? And the doc was like, sure you don't drink. Sure. They didn't believe them. They just assumed that they were lying. The catalyst for that, fatty liver disease started to show up in children. It took it showing up in 5th graders and 4th graders for them to go, oh, maybe it can happen without alcohol. So we have to remember that doctors are human too. So, and he may have gotten things wrong. And I'm not saying he's perfect. I don't necessarily put him on a pedestal, but I think he is a great person in our community. I think he's a fantastic resource, as is Dr. As Dr. Baker, as in Bella, and all the people in our community, the people who have these big, these big platforms. I think they all have something to offer. Now, it's up to you as the individual. It's up to me as an individual to decide what they have to say. Is it important? Does it impact me in a way that I should be listening to them? And I get to choose whether or not I like what they say or not. And that's on me. Like if I don't like this, something they say and it turns out to be true, well, that's on me, right? But I think that's what we're here for. I don't expect everyone to like everything that I say. And that's okay. Question me, ask me, why do you think that? Why do if I have a weird take on something, because I know I have some weird takes on things, I don't agree with a lot of things. I don't think we should all be moving more towards carnivore. Some people, sure, but I don't think necessarily carnivore's for everybody. I don't think vegetables are trying to kill us. I don't think they're inherently bad for us, for the most part. Some people have a tougher time tolerating, the oxalates or the whatever the plants have in them, and some people are more sensitive than others. I mean, I love broccoli, but it makes me a little gassy sometimes, but that's okay. Sometimes I just want broccoli or some Brussels sprouts. Sometimes I'll have some carrots. Ooh. And I've been saying things like carrots aren't supposed to be orange. They were supposed to be white, but people would rather buy orange ones. And I'm like, so what? I don't think anybody got diabetes from eating too many carrots. Too many potatoes, maybe, but not carrots. I think we have to I've always said this, you have to take a step back and kind of like, okay, did somebody eat so many apples, and it's probably, and you can probably, with 8 billion people and the cycle that happens with us people, we're talking about graduating here. If you understand what we're talking about, the context of the conversation here today in the chat, that maybe one person got diabetes from eating too many carrots, or one person got diabetes from eating too many apples. But I think it's a societal problem. I think it's just a fact that we have too much hyper palatable, delicious food that we can't stop eating. I was talking with a relative the other day, and I was like, you got to cut back on the crackers and the pasta. Like, I love crackers. I'm like, everybody loves crackers except Rick. Okay. Even though I was like, ducks love crackers. And yeah, sure, crackers are duck food. You know what I mean? But crackers are delicious. Pizza's delicious. And Rick is back there. Nope. But he's probably already switched over to Mitch's channel, but that's okay. And I've even seen people this week talking about how they don't think that smoking is that bad. That smoking probably isn't the cause of people's heart disease. And I'm like, yeah, if you're a heavy smoker and you get heart disease, it might be the seed oils too, but it's probably the smoking. It's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, we got to be realistic here. Like, and it's like, keto and carnivore and the proper human diet, they're really good for us and they're going to help us out a lot, but they don't make us invincible. They don't make us bulletproof. So if you are living a good, clean lifestyle and you're smoking and drinking, you're susceptible to stuff too. Even if you don't, somehow, I think in this world, we know people who can live a perfectly clean lifestyle and still maybe get cancer. Because it's weird out there. And I mean, you don't know what you've come in contact with. You could have a house that's under one of those big power line things, and it's like slowly frying your brain. I don't know. But I don't think that Dr. Barry's a charlatan. And I think he actually, I would say that he's a pretty straight shooter. I don't think, if he goes to a talk, I don't think he should be, you may not need to go hear him every time because it doesn't always change. He's out there. I don't think you need to catch every live. Maybe, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things. John says, if you disagree with something he says, some makes you feel like it's sacrilegious. Yeah, and I think, we have a right to totally disagree, because I disagree with things that he says. I don't, and like even Sean Baker, of all people, has said, I don't think everybody needs to be carnivore. I was kind of shocked to hear him say it. I've heard him say it more than once. Some people, nonchalant low carb is going to work just fine for them. And I think there's just something about that. There was something that I heard the other day. I was listening to it, and it was like, what if it's not the gluten? What if it's everything else in the bread? Like bread. Yeah, bread's bad for us. Like, bread. But like, people will say all the time, like, they eat bread here in the United States and they feel crappy, but then they'll take like a trip over to Italy or Spain and they have some bread over there because, when on holiday, you're going to do what you're going to do. And they're like, it didn't impact me the same way. And it's like, okay, so what is our bread? Our bread really is almost like more like cake. Like our sandwich bread, it's like we're bleaching the flour or putting glyphosate in. There's, they're adding all this stuff to make it rise and make it shelf stable so it doesn't mold. Like bread can be on the shelf for 2 weeks or whatever. I think, but we're blaming the gluten in the bread. And I'm sure that there's a lot of gluten intolerance, but is that gluten intolerance because that gluten is covered in glyphosate and covered in all these other chemicals and it's made, there's just so many things. It's like you can't necessarily probably pinpoint any one true thing that's going to impact everybody. Because I thought it was funny because I had this manager at one of my jobs, and she found out that she had celiac disease. Okay, so she found out she had celiac disease, and she's like, you know what? I can't have bread anymore. I can't have all this. But I found out that Butterfingers are gluten free. So she ate Butterfingers all the time. Do you think that's helping? But at the same time, I know people cope with a disease. Like I have celiac disease, so now I can't eat bread or whatever has wheat, gluten in it, pizza and all that stuff. But I can eat Butterfingers. Okay, and it's just I think our food system is so broken that I don't know how we fix it. I don't know how we get millions of people healthy. And I know we're fighting the good fight. I know we really are because we're here. We're trying to help our family. We're trying to help our friends. We're trying to help strangers. We're here. We're talking about this. We're debating these things. But I mean, it's such an uphill battle that, I'm trying to become, a health coach so I can help more people. Because because I remember what it was like to feel like, I'm just that's gonna be the way it is. That's my destiny. And I have a friend that tells me, he's like, it's just bad genetics. I have bad genetics, and that's what's happening to me. And I'm like, and sometimes I give in and argue. It doesn't get me anywhere. But when almost a lifelong friend says, you know what, I've got all these things wrong with me, it's just genetics. And I'm like, well, what are you eating? And like, another relative the other day, we were having a conversation. I was like, what do you eat? What are you eating? And they literally looked at me and goes, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. And she's like, I don't know how much protein I'm getting. I don't know how much this I'm getting. And I'm like, I don't want to measure my food. And I'm like, I don't measure my food either. I just know that I get 4 frozen patties and I put them in the thing, and there's 4 of those, and that's roughly this protein, this fat, this whatever, this roughly these calories, it's roughly this. I'm not calculating it. It's just I get 4 of them. And I put 6 eggs in the thing, and no eggs are the same. And I'm not weighing the eggs to know how much there actually are. Not getting out calipers and measuring the yolk and all that stuff. I'm not doing that. I learned very early on that if I was going to measure everything, I was going to fail. If I was going to put every single thing I put in my mouth into a tracking software, I was going to fail. I was going to give up because I did not want to live my life that way. So I had to find a better way. I had to find, simplified way to eat that helped me not need to track. Falling into KetoSimple, the name KetoSimple, is very serendipitous because I didn't choose it thinking about that, thinking that I need to make it easier for myself. My whole goal was, okay, if I'm not going to count everything I eat, then I have to do my best to make sure what I'm eating has little to no carbs. And obviously everything kind of has carbs. We know that eggs has a little bit of carbs in it. Meat has some minuscule amount of carbs in it. Cheese and vegetables and all these things, they have some carbs, but it's like, do you worry about the carbs in vegetables? Do you count the eighth or fifth of a gram of carb that an egg has? Do you? I mean, I just try to, so that's kind of where like the triple B&E kind of is just right up my alley because I don't have to worry. I'm going to have 4 hamburger patties, maybe 6 eggs. I can count that high. I can 4 fingers, 6 fingers. I can count. I don't even have to take my socks off and count with my toes. I just try to keep it as simple as I can. So yeah, I don't even know what we're talking about. Let's get back to these comments because I'm getting behind, like 20 minutes behind. And Borchell says, Dr. Barry, from that time that I followed him, was completely against vegetables and preaching as they are poison. That is quite a naive approach. Well, and I feel that's kind of the same way as well. I kind of feel like being completely anti-vegetable is kind of a naive approach because We have been eating vegetables for thousands and thousands of years. What Dr. Kilt said the other day about raw was something that I was like, okay, I'm not quite sure if I can get on board with that either. Because early man, undoubtedly before we found fire, ate raw. Now, they probably ate it fresh from the animal, so it was probably still kind of warm. But, and then they were probably we were foragers, finding anything we could put in our mouth that didn't kill us, eating animals when we can find them and kill them because we probably had very rudimentary tools. We didn't even have fire. But then once we figured out fire, I think that's, I mean, depending on if you think of, if you're in camp, fire and cooked food helped grow our brains quickly, or if you're in camp stoned ape theory, there's a theory that there's a stoned ape theory that our ancestors found mushrooms and hallucinogens, and eating those kind of started opening us up to kind of, expanding our minds and helped create language and all these things. So, and I imagine some of you probably discount all of that, and that's fine too. But, I mean, none of us were there. None of us know for sure. They're all theories. So we have to kind of just go by what we're looking at. But you know, do I think vegetables are poison they're trying to kill us? I think vegetables have a very clear defense mechanism from being eaten. Fruits, on the other hand, want to be eaten. Fruits want to be eaten because, one, they taste good. If you eat them like animals do, animals eat the fruit, run away from where that tree is or that plant is, digestion happens, then the next step happens, and there go the seeds, and then here comes a new plant. So fruits, they want to be eaten. Fruits want to be eaten. That's why they taste good. They're bright. They're colorful. Hey, look at me. Look at me. Look at me. I'm a big red apple. Come get me. Come eat me. And then poop my seeds out somewhere. Vegetables, on the other hand, not so much, I think. But I think we have figured out which ones are relatively safe to eat. But I also think we have to remember poison is in the dose. You can get water poisoning. You can die from too much water. So we have to think about it that too. Do I think sugar is inherently a poison? No, I don't. Because if sugar was a poison, our body wouldn't make it. Our body makes glucose. So that's like the idea that the cholesterol in an egg is bad because our body makes cholesterol. So the idea that sugar is poison is ridiculous. Now, that being said, should we be eating half a pound of sugar a day? Absolutely not. Is the sugar in a few berries going to be fine? Yeah, I mean, most likely for you, if you can handle it, sure. An apple, who cares? You know what I mean? A piece of pineapple. Oh, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't think that sugar like that is big deal, but people in our community are here because most of us can't handle all that sugar, right? Rebecca's asking what's n equals one. So n equals one, I'm jumping ahead, but it's basically saying it's what's different. So n equals one is like an experiment is here. I'll look up the definition so I can read it so I don't sound like a dum dum. All right. The definition of a system design. Let's see. No, I want n equals one. All right. So, in context of self assessment, so N equals one would be a self assessment, refers to a single subject study design where an individual assesses the effect of an intervention or behaviors on themselves. So, here's a breakdown: focus on the individual instead of studying a large group to determine average effects. N equals one self assessment centers on one person's experience. So, N equals one is how it impacts me. So if I'm doing something that's like, so my N equals one on Oreos, a serving size of Oreos on the package is 2 Oreos. I know for me, my N equals one with that is I'm going to eat the whole package. That's how that works for me. Now, for somebody else, their N equals one may be 2 Oreos and they're good to go for 3 months. They don't need another Oreo. That whole package can sit in their pantry till it rots and turns to dust and they're okay. They had their 2 Oreos and they're fine. Not me. Or N equals one. Like I understand, like adding fat, like adding more fat to your diet. Like so, and I don't. And if Charlie's still here, so Charlie uh, is a person in here where he was having issues. So Charlie or Darth Carnivore, he had a thing where he was having issues. And correct me if I'm wrong, Charlie, if you're still in the chat, but he was having a stall. So he decided to go counterintuitive. His N equals one was instead of cutting back on the amount of food that he was eating, he increased it. He went from like a 2,000 calorie, 2,500 calorie a day to like 4,000 to 6,000 calories a day. And when he did that, he lost weight. That was his N equals one. Another person may try that and not do this, not have the same experience. And that's okay. And Cindy says, Borchell, Dr. Baker, Dr. Chafee both push one diet. Dr. Barry says he will cheat with keto. His wife is more ketovore. Like, you know, and I still kind of have a problem with that. I cheat on keto. If I'm going to cheat, I cheat with keto. It's not really cheating. And I know that's the point. But it sounds good. You know what I mean? It just sounds weird. I talk a lot. I'm thirsty. Got a lot of beverages. But yeah, I think, I just think that, the thing about vegetables and we've got a lot to learn. We haven't figured it all out yet. Keto, from when I started, is different than keto now. That's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. I know. Let's see. Aaron says, use the wonderful gift of common sense. With anything on the internet, question everything. Yes. But we have to remember that common sense isn't always common. And what sounds like common sense and rational isn't always truthful either. So somebody may say something, but that doesn't necessarily, and it may sound reasonable, but it doesn't mean it's true. So we have to even question that. Like, it's such a catch-22. Like, yeah. Yeah, Rick says, I never watched Dr. Barry videos. That makes sense. That checks out. Yeah, Borchell is basically saying, like, Dr. Because I've heard Dr. Baker say not everybody is going to be or should be carnivore. You can handle vegetables, you handle fruits, cool. Yeah. And I think realistically, I'm pretty sure that Dr. Barry says the same thing. I think it's such a spectrum. So the proper human diet, which is his coining, Dr. Barry coined the phrase, him and Nisha coined the phrase proper human diet. And he said it's like a spectrum. There's like, low carb all the way to lion diet. And how do you fit? But I think, whole food diet If we could get the average American to eat a simplified whole food diet and remove just processed foods, not even necessarily low carb, I think we would be so much better off. Like not having as much pasta and all that stuff. I mean, if we're just like I said, potatoes and just getting back. My mom used to love, like my mom made roast potatoes and carrots all the time. That was when she actually cooked meals. That was a meal she would do if it wasn't something from the microwave or fish sticks and carrots. She would make roast potatoes and carrots, and I love that stuff. I loved it. I love potatoes, and I love roast back then. Like roast now, like it's harder to digest for me. But I think if we could truly get most Americans on a whole food diet, not even necessarily low carb diet, I think we would significantly turn the health situation of this country around. If we could get the glyphosates and all the pesticides and all the things we use on our food away from it and get rid of the dyes and all that stuff. But I mean, realistically, whole food shouldn't have a dye. But I mean, I think some of the meat that they think there's dye in meat. They make, I mean, it's not going to be as red, and there's dye in our meat. But is that even on the list of ingredients of beef? I don't know. But yeah, I just think we get so caught up in the minutia of it all, and we get caught up in like all of it. Well, this person said this, and this person said this. Well, we should be cherry picking what makes sense to us. And we should be trying little bits and pieces of things. I don't think we're ever going to have it completely figured out, you know? And Rick says only one channel has iguana recipes. Yep. I don't know. Have you searched iguana recipes and only your channel came up? Did I miss something? Because Jeff is saying Nathan S. Bryan is who you should check. Oh, Nathan S. Bryan is who you should check out for nitric oxide. I'll get around to it. I'll star that one too. Let's see. Debbie says, I used to watch Dr. Barry all the time, but he's gotten so big that I rarely do now. And I mean, that's fair too. I don't watch every day or every live because he's answering specific questions that don't necessarily apply to me. And sometimes I have a question and I'll send him a super chat and make sure he sees it or whatever. But I mean, I don't watch any channel all the time. I mean, there's some more than others. I just don't have enough time. And his are an hour, but I mean, I like watching his stuff because I feel like he gives good quality answers to people. Rick says, once a channel owner no longer says hi to you, it's time to move on. I've thought about that. Okay. So I've been thinking about that as well. Like how, as a channel grows, obviously as a channel, you want to grow. Growth in a channel doesn't always mean more money, but it means more opportunities, more people you're helping. I can't, in this space, the more people watching your channel, the more people who are hopefully here to better themselves. So, and with any channel in this community, I champion them to have more viewers, more subscribers, because there's a lot of people who need help. And yeah, when you get to be Dr. Barry's size, he can't say hi to everybody. It's impossible. He's got 8,000 people watching across a few platforms. You know what I mean? That's like, and I get it. Like, if you like the interaction, Dr. Barry's not for you. If you don't want to super chat him, then Dr. Barry's not for you. And I understand that. And if a channel gets too big, you put a thing in the chat, they don't say hello to you. I get that too. Maybe my channel will get to be that point too, where I can't say hello to everybody. I can't say that I hope that doesn't happen, because again, my goal has always been community. And I know that kind of blows community, but like it's also to help all those people who need help. So it's such a double-edged sword. It's such a I want to help as many people as I can, but I also want to have interactions with all of you. You know, it's a very and I think about that all the time. Andy says, I like watching old Donald Duck videos. Oh my goodness. Carnivore tunes. I mean, and even with like Donald Duck cartoons, right? Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny pushed carrots as so as World War II ramped up, and I've talked about this before. Carrots were pushed into people eating a lot of carrots as a ploy because the Allied forces had developed radar and were using it against the Axis forces. And so in order for them to disguise the fact that they had this new technology called radar, they started putting it out that, all these pilots were eating all these carrots and getting beta carotene and all this stuff, right? Leucine and all these things out of carrots and making them see better and be able to hit their targets. And then they utilized, and it also kind of worked too, because carrots had those vitamins in there, but they were also not on the rations list. So in World War II, there were rations. You can only have so much sugar, so much this, so much that, but you could have as many carrots as you wanted. So they weren't rationed. So that was another benefit. Sell more things that aren't rationed. And then they started putting Bugs Bunny in with his carrots. He'd like sit there with a carrot and go, "What's up, Doc?" And he'd open his cigarette case and have a carrot in there. But rabbits don't really eat carrots. They eat like lettuce and leaves and such and clovers and all that stuff, but they don't really eat carrots. I might even say that carrots aren't even that great for rabbits. Let me see. It's the number two. It's the number 2 search on Google. Number 1 is are carrots bad for dogs? And it's are carrots bad for rabbits? And number 3 is are carrots bad for you? But we'll click on rabbits and we'll see what it says. No, carrots are not generally bad for rabbits, but they should be fed in moderation. And I bet you anything that it says the same thing for you. What do you want to bet? Or do you think you eat as many carrots as you want? What do you think? What do you think it's going to be? I'll give you a couple of seconds to say what you say here. I'm going to not get to it for a while. So anyway. No, carrots are not generally bad for you. They are nutritious and versatile vegetables that offer several health benefits. So there's that. So they're really good for us, but not for the rabbits, allegedly. Debbie couldn't eat iguanas. I would try it. I bet it's flaky, like fish. Yeah, so I'm behind on my chats here, but Aaron's saying it's still that way with doctors. Oh, 100%. John, Mr. Gugahan says, I did not like Dr. Barry's video on the sugar diet. I wish he did a more professional, serious video on why he thought it wasn't good. Instead, it was sarcastic and demeaning to those trying it. I think it just came down to the fact that that's how he felt at the time. And again, it comes down to the fact that he's human and making content. And I mean, I had to look up and see how many views that got. I'll look and see here. Let's see. Yeah, his sugar diet video got 172,000 views. So, you know, I mean, I think that was a good chunk. I wish one of my videos get 170,000 views. That'd be pretty awesome. I've never had any of my videos get that many views, except I have a short that's like 100,000 or whatever. I can look and see. I think my most visited video is views. Let's see. I think it's a short. I'll go and I'll look and I'll tell you my biggest video that's a long form video is just a tad under. It's like 71 views under 40,000 views. So one of my biggest long form videos is just under 40,000 views. And then the next one is like 24,000 or 22,000 views, then 12,000, then 8,000, then 7, 7, 6, 6, 5. So those are like the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The top 9, 10 videos. Number 10 video of mine is the Element Maltodextrin video at 44, almost 4,500 views. So I don't get a ton of views. My biggest short, views wise, is 143,000 views. So, right, like Dr. Barry's 172. My biggest short video is 143,000 views. The number 2 slot is 42,000 views. So, like, $200 more. So, yeah, that's where that is. So I don't blame Dr. Barry for making that kind of content. I would also like to hear him say things seriously, but I think he does that more in his lives. But videos like that, I mean, you could tell obviously he was sarcastic, and you could totally get the gist of what he really thinks of it. And and I always said and how I look at that is I was upset with people pushing it, but I was never upset with people trying it. Hopefully, I mean, I want people to find what works for them. If the sugar diet's actually going to work for you, cool, let's go. But I understand what you're coming from, John. I really do. Aaron goes, though, I mean, in the 1920s, they might have been, you know what I mean? Smoking and drinking in the boys' room. Aaron goes, those damn 4th and 5th graders are drinking again. Yes. And Aaron says, one day of following the diabetes guidelines made my blood sugar spike so bad. Yeah, it's 100%. And Sean says, they said I had non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. It was so bad that I had to have a cyst burned out of my liver because it was threatening the integrity of my liver wall. I don't have that anymore. That's amazing. I love that. Yeah, and Borchelle says, true, my brother. It's all to us to choose. And I salute doctors and anyone that gives us informed consent. Yeah, I just think, I think, you can't get everything you're going to eat from Dr. Barry. You've got to go to Jason Fung and Dr. Finney and all these doctors that came before Dr. Barry. Like, I love Dr. Finney and I love Jason Fung, but they don't see eye to eye on fasting at all. Now, I don't know if Dr. Finney has changed his mind on fasting at all. He may have. I mean, like Dr. Westman, and there's so many amazing doctors out there that are really, really pushing forward the low carb, proper human diet thing. And I just kind of think like right now, like carnivore is the big trendy thing. But I also say I think in the next 5 to 10 years we're going to learn so much. I think we've still got a lot to learn about gut biome. How important is gut biome diversity? How much does, if you are eating a carnivore diet without any vegetables, as I know that Victor had a guest on his live a couple of weeks ago that was adamant that we should be making sure we're getting, plenty of, you know, bioavailable like stuff to help our gut biome. And then we hear from other doctors that say, you know, why should we incorporate bacteria? And like, that was something else that Dr. Kiltz said, something like, why should we be incorporating this stuff into our gut biome? And I'm like, our body is a symbiotic body. We have a lot of processes in our body and gut biome and there's good bacteria, there's bad bacteria. I mean, it's just we are a symbiote. There's lots of life forms living in us and with us. We got those things on our eyelashes and all the different things, and who knows what's living in our skin and our beard and our face. And I think we just gotta have to truly yeah, I don't know. And Andy says, I don't want gas. I get that. But I mean, it doesn't make me feel bad. And it's not the same type of gas that I get when I eat keto branded products. Like I eat a Quest bar or some Lily's chips, then I'm farting a lot for hours. But if I have some broccoli, I might just toot a little bit. It's not a big deal. Like, it's hard to explain. I think, and it goes back to if a little bit is if we restrict this much carbs and then zero carbs has got to be, instead of 20 whole carbs was good, right? I did 20 whole carbs and that was good and I was seeing results, but man, I tell you what, zero carbs is better. And then I'm going to try to figure out how to go negative carbs. You know what I mean? I think we just kind of get caught up in all of the drama and all of the spectacle of it. We have to not let ourselves do that. I mean, I didn't like broccoli until we started doing keto. Then I cooked it right and added butter, and I was like, oh, this is so good. Not something better with butter, salt, and garlic powder on broccoli. It's so good. I mean, people are like, oh, garlic. Oh, and people are going to be like, you can't have garlic. I don't want to live in a world where I can't have some garlic. It's like, I don't want to live in a world where I can't have my coffee, some garlic. I kind of, I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do all these things. And I'm so much better with my food addiction and my binging and all that stuff than I have ever been in my life. I have to give myself some grace. I have to, I'm not going to give up coffee. I have tried it multiple times, but I keep coming back to it because it's so good. And it doesn't impact me that bad. And I kind of agree with Bacon Baby here as well. I agree with Mr. Gugahan, and I agree with Bacon Baby here. He put out content the way that he wanted to, and it's not going to appeal to everybody. And I think it was a little silly, it was goofy, but I kind of think that does keep people's attention, like Bacon Baby says. You know what I mean? I think it's just one of those things. And Eva Lynn says, I was astonished with how many influencers ditched keto carnivore for the sugar diet. I am not, sadly enough. I think there are influencers and creators that are in this space because they know this space is going to get a certain amount of engagement. And it's something that they can talk about. So when something big like the sugar diet comes along, a lot of people are going to try it for realistic reasons. Some people are going to try it just because it's the new big thing. And if they don't do it, then they're afraid they're missing out on the views. And, some people are just doing it because, well, you know what? I miss sugar and I want to be able to eat and drink soda and I want to eat candy. So I'm going to do the sugar diet. And some people get frustrated with weight loss and they're like, well, keto stopped working, so I'm going to go to the sugar diet. I mean, you got all these different reasons to do it. I mean, some people truly want to see if it works and helps them. Some people do it just for the wrong reasons. And it's just, I wasn't that astonished. I was kind of weirded out when it was actually, I think it was more weirded out that it was a thing and that once something's a thing, people doing the thing isn't that astonishing. Aaron says, love you. Bye, everybody. Got to go shopping. Well, be safe, dear. Have fun. I hope you find all the things you want. So Evelyn says, as you mention hyper palatable foods, I'm debating eating a slice of keto cheesecake for breakfast. I still don't think that some hyper palatable foods are necessarily all that bad. Again, it's like, how long in human history have we had pastries and cakes and pies and things? Hundreds, if not thousands of years, right? Probably closer to hundreds than thousands, but I mean, like, let's take a look. Let's see. Sweet fruit pies became popular in England during the 16th century, with the first recorded cherry pie being served to Queen Elizabeth I. While savory pies existed earlier, the increased availability and affordability of sugar during this period allowed for development of sweet dessert pies. Now, that's just England. I don't know how that really resonates to the rest of the world. Here's more detailed timeline. Ancient times, the Greeks and Romans made early forms of pies, primarily savory with pastry crusts. Medieval England pies were mainly savory with meat and fish fillings. Sugar was a luxury, making sweet pies uncommon. We have to understand, if you want to get into the history of sugar in this country, it's a bleak story. So I don't even know how to talk about it because it's so bad. Like sugarcane production, especially in Haiti and places like that, we know that they had free labor for that, right? We'll call it free labor, okay? Just for the video's sake, just for monetization's sake, just so things don't get blocked. They had free labor. And just for the sake of conversation, we were talking about, I am in middle school of my age, and someone's like, I am in my doctorate of my age. And then eventually we all graduate. Their workers graduated at a rate faster than they were entering school. Okay. Let me know if you're keeping up with me. Okay. So their workers were graduating faster than the new students coming in to keep up with the sugarcane production. If you're smelling what I'm putting down here. And that is insane. So the development and the cultivation and the harvesting of sugarcane was so hard on the free help, the free workers, the free labor, if you will. Well, they weren't free workers, they were free labor. If you understand what I'm saying. It was such a tough and ridiculously hard thing to cultivate and to harvest sugarcane that the rate that their workers graduated far exceeded the number of new students coming in. That's devastating to think about. Then obviously when machinery came in and they figured out how to make it out of beets, and then obviously with high fructose corn syrup, they learned how to turn basically a cheap crop like corn into sugar. That further and further cheapened it to where, and that's where, and then obviously with government subsidies with the corn, most corn grown is going to go to either feed for cattle or just, corn syrup. But just the history of sugar as a whole is insane. It's devastating. It's bleak. And then to see what it's doing to us now, disease is just, I can't say it's worse because those people suffered. I'm not saying that we don't suffer too, but yeah. So yeah, I don't know if you guys were fully following me and all that stuff, but yeah. Yeah, anyway, yeah. Let's get through here because I know we've got a lot of the stuff going on. Like 45 minutes behind. That's okay because I still have a ton of coffee left, so we're okay. Rebecca has a valid question here. So I'm confused. If we are all human keto carnivore is a proper human diet, and we've all seen so many great results. How can anyone say it's not for everyone when everyone is human? So the proper human diet is a little bit bigger spectrum than just keto and carnivore. That's going to cover, realistically, to me, proper human diet is a whole food diet. Now, a lot of us can't handle some of those whole foods like potatoes and things like that. So it gets kind of truncated down to the keto and carnivore. Somebody who is primarily on a whole food diet eats a lot of meat, a lot of fat, has some potatoes and things like that, they're probably not going to have any trouble. It's like our great grandparents. They ate potatoes. Our great great grandparents, our great 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 grandparents, they probably had like meat and potatoes. Rice wasn't probably a thing. Like, when did rice come into the United States? Let me see. Rice was first introduced to the United States in the late 17th century, specifically around 1685. When it was brought to South Carolina, it arrived on a ship sailing from Madagascar and was initially gifted to a local planter in Charleston. The event marked the beginning of rice cultivation in the United States, with the Carolinas becoming a major rice producing region. So yeah, I didn't know that. I had no idea. But just to kind of get back to it, but even still, like, you know people who just don't and can't really tolerate meat. Some people just won't eat meat. They can't eat it. They don't like it. They just don't like the taste of it. It's whatever, right? Like Rick. Rick can't eat anything called duck food. He can only eat, unsalted meat, and he doesn't care. Like, Rick doesn't salt his food. He just drinks water, and he has, his meat. And everybody's a little different. I mean, how were we raised? And I mean, and realistically, some people won't stick to it. Does that mean it's not healthy for them? Do I think that keto is probably healthy for everybody? Probably. But I can't say that because we haven't really been doing it long enough, long term, on a mass scale. And that's kind of where I kind of think where we're going to learn so much in the next 5 to 10 years as keto and carnivore and proper human diet and all these things grow and grow. We're going to learn more information. Like we've learned over the last 9 years with keto, carnivore, lion diet, understanding that if you have severe autoimmune diseases and issues, that going lion diet can kind of put them in remission. We didn't know that before. Nobody would even have thought that 10 years ago, 11 years ago, 12 years ago. That's relatively new. We're learning a lot of things. But at the same time, I think, can people get away with eating broccoli and what, and peas and carrots and all these things? Absolutely. I don't think if you are a person eating a whole food, meat centric diet, you are going to have a lot of trouble. Now, if you eat tons and tons of potatoes, are you going to have maybe some A1C problems? Maybe. But that's going to be a difference between the individual. Some people's bodies can handle things a lot better than others. There are genetic components that we have to take into account. But like I said, we're going to learn so much over the next decade, 20 years that, I mean, we're really in the infancy of all of this. Sadly enough, we as humans have ridiculously short memories. The fact that most of us don't even realize what our great grandparents lived on, or even like my great grandmother taught me how to cook eggs in bacon grease, and then it went to margarine. Then I was cooking with country crock after that because that's what we bought. So so I guess the better answer to your question, Rebecca, is can almost everyone benefit from a low carb carnivore keto diet? Absolutely. But are we ever going to get everyone to eat this diet? Absolutely not. But my thing is, if we can get more people onto a whole food diet that doesn't even necessarily constitute low carb, but I mean, if we can get people just maybe 150 grams of carbs a day, think about how much better off we'd be as a whole in society. Some people are probably having 150 grams of carbs at breakfast with just coffee and a muffin. So we have to think grand scale. We oftentimes here get very community focused, where most of us are doing very similar things. Whether it's keto, carnivore, lion, whatever, ketovore, however you want to define what you do, it's very community centric and we're all kind of doing similar stuff. But we have to take a step back and go, how do we help the broad spectrum of people in this country? Is it going to be keto? Is it going to be carnivore? I think realistically, the grandest, the biggest scale, the best we're going to be able to hope for, and maybe I'm being a little bit conservative in this, like a conservative estimate. I think the best we might be able to do for a bulk of people is a low carb whole food diet. Just getting people to eat more meat in general is going to be a tough sell, let alone cutting sugar, eating meat, adding more animal fats, getting rid of seed oils, getting rid of vegetable oils, getting rid of margarine in lieu of butter. We're in an uphill battle on a multi fronts here, on a lot of fronts. And we take for granted that we just fell into this, right? But we've got a long battle ahead of us. So, while I think keto carnivore is one of those things that's going to be best for all of us, or it could be the best for all of us, we have to scale it back and go, how do we get the most people started on the right track? Whole food diet with minimal processed food. Are we still going to have chips? We're never going to get rid of all the junk food. We're just not. Let's be realistic. It's a free society. And I want to jump in here because, let's see. I'm like an hour behind. I want to say hi to Karen Harrington's in the house. Thank you for being here, Karen. And Debbie says, I know, right? Everyone says it's genetics. I used to think before watching all the keto and carnivore channels. Yeah. Now, and we'll know that genetics plays a role. Genetics does play a role in all of what we do here. But it's not the end all. Genetics, it's like they're there, but it doesn't mean we have to let it happen. Cindy says, Rebecca, different aspects of the proper human diet will work differently for everyone. That's where finding what works for you comes into play. N equals one. Yeah, 100%. Sean says, I used to get the nutty bars from the vending machine because it was like getting 2 chocolate bars for the price of one. I used to buy by weight. So I would like look at the difference between chips and chips and pretzels. Pretzels weighed more. I got like 2.5 ounces of pretzels versus an ounce of chips. So obviously I went with pretzels, you know? And I want to say a huge, huge thank you here to Patricia for the super chat, $10 super chat. She says, well spoken, Dustin. Thank you so very much for that. I truly, truly appreciate that. Thank you so very much. It really means a lot to me. And it just took me all the way to the top again, but I'll fix that here in a second. I was about an hour away, like 2 hours there. Give me a second. I'll find out where I was at. Yeah. Andy says, one of my main hopes with this lifestyle is to never ever have a kidney stone again. They are no fun. They are definitely no fun, but I think I think it's usually like a perfect storm of things, like whether it's coffee or oxalates and like nuts or whatever, right? There's a lot of that stuff. A lot of that stuff at play. And Rebecca says, Cindy, I see what you're saying, but in essence, we should all thrive of keto carnivore as our physiology is basically the same. Well, it's like, okay, and I know like it's like women's hormones are different than men's hormones. So women are gonna thrive on different things than men, but not all, but but some men can do things that others can't, and things work for others. Like we are basically the same, but we're not exactly the same. We are relatively all the same, but we're not exactly the same. Some people react to things differently. Some people are allergic to things, and some people are not. So it's that kind of stuff. And Sean said, Rebecca, it all depends on what you can and cannot tolerate. That is why a lot of experts say to do an elimination diet for 30 days and add things back slow to see how they impact you. Yeah. And Debbie says they load up food with more sugar than ever, plus the chemical plastics and some kind of wood. I don't know, but really think about. Yeah, I mean, like there's like wood pulp in the cheese as like an anti-caking agent. But that doesn't bother me all that much because I mean I know we're not digesting wood, but I mean there's just other stuff. Carl, I tracked everything I ate for a year in an app, and it set me up for health habits with healthy habits in place. I stopped tracking. Now I go to the app and enter my stuff every couple of months. Yeah, and we already touched on this because I happened to see it in advance, so we touched on sorry what n equals one. There we go. I knew Stacy would be here. She said slept in, but it's been an hour, so they may have fallen back asleep. Yeah, Andy Carnivore says in research, n equals one or n of one refers to a type of study. Yeah, we've discussed all this. Let's see. Yeah, and Carl says it here. It's like, if you're an alcoholic trying to get sober, and if it is said that the solution is to not pick up the first drink. Some of us carb addicts don't eat the first carb. Easier said than done. But it's like, okay, it's like the one of the hardest things about food issues and food addiction is one, you have to eat, and two, food is just about everywhere. You can't really go anywhere without there being food. It's at every store. Doesn't matter. There's like chips and candy everywhere. everywhere. I don't think there's a single store that doesn't sell something that's edible. Maybe Goodwill. Even Goodwill used to have sodas. You know what I mean? Like I remember when they had like 20-ounce sodas, that kind of stuff. So I mean, it's like you can't go anywhere without all that stuff. Karen is here. Good morning, Karen. Late to the party, working on my sleep. I know I've been like the last week or so, I've been struggling with my sleep. Oh my goodness, it's so rough. And Rebecca said, that's how you know you found the perfect home. I love all of these people because of how loving and accepting they are and how helpful they are. Yeah, 100%. Like, I want everybody to question everything. I mean, like even with, we were talking about Dr. Barry being a charlatan, that question, I was like, that's a perfect question because if you look at someone like Dr. Barry and that's what you see, let's talk about it. I don't necessarily think that it's, I mean, it's a negative thing, but I don't think, I think that that's something to definitely talk about because I know we all see different things in people. And I think it's a perfect conversation to have. I'll go through some more of these wonderful things. Let's see. Debbie says, Dustin, it's not that I don't like Dr. Barry. I do. It's that I don't get to watch YouTube as much as I want to. So I lean more towards the smaller channels now. Hopefully that makes, oh yeah, 100%. I understand that 100%. I mean, I don't necessarily watch Dr. Barry all the time because it's like, you can't even chat with each other really in there. Because sometimes those chats are moving so fast that you can't even really chat. Like you see somebody you're like, hi, and they probably not even going to see it. I understand that. I 100%. And I like having that engagement. And Patricia said rabbits will get diabetes if they eat carrots. So also die if they get too much fat. Like they're like rabbits are a very low fat animal. Like you can die if you eat too much rabbit. It's called rabbit starvation. So, trying to get through these comments because I'm so far behind. Evelyn says, I raised rabbits. I was like, I raised rabbits, wascally rabbit. They prefer greens and alfalfa as a treat. They don't love carrots. Yeah. Oh, Stacy, if you're still here, I have so many egg cartons for you. I need to get them back to you. So let me know how we can do that, or if we're gonna be somewhere around the same place sometime. Let me know. Let me know. Rebecca said, what I noticed about Dr. Barry, he seems to speak layman. I feel he is targeting a non-academic community for ease of understanding to most. If I want to watch more educated stuff, I watch Dr. Ben Bickman. I try to watch Nick Norwitz. I almost want to tell Nick Norwitz he needs to put out a secondary video for each one he does for us dummies. Me being a dummy, So, because I try to watch his stuff, but he's like, he kind of talks in a way that he doesn't because he gets scrutinized so bad. So, like, they'll take something he says out of context. So, he's very careful in what he says. So, yeah, that's hard to watch sometimes. I listened to like a 5-hour podcast with him once, and it was all that. And I'm like, oh my God. Karen is asking, Dustin, any theories on the conversation about not eating sugar and that your pancreas is a muscle, and if you don't use it, you'll lose the effect of processing? So I'm curious about that. That's like, and I think that no matter what we do, our body will probably produce a certain amount of insulin no matter what. If your body can produce insulin, whether you smell something sweet and your body goes, I know that smell. That means we're going to eat maybe. So I better secrete some insulin. I Our body is prepared to handle a lot of things. Our body is very wondrous, and I think it's capable of a lot more than we realize. I think that, and again, I think there probably is something to that, but I don't know for sure. I don't know how that works, if there's been any long-term data on that. But it's like, that's like the idea that sugar is poison. Is sugar poison? I don't believe inherently it is. And now there's a few of you people in here who will disagree with me there, and that's fine. But I don't think on the whole, sugar itself is a poison. Our bodies have a way of handling it. Our bodies have a way to deal with sugar that comes in with our food. So it meant we have evolved over however much time to handle eating some sugar. Now, that being said, again, the caveat there is some. I think that the issue that we have today is the amount of sugar that we consume on a daily, day in, day out basis is the poison. Like on a live, a live last week, somebody said that they have about a teaspoon of honey. And somebody goes, well, that's just blah, 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 blah. I was like, a teaspoon of honey is like 6 carbs. And if you are primarily carnivore and you're eating relatively 0 carbs, and you have a little bit of honey at night, like a teaspoon of honey at night, I don't think that's a huge problem. But that doesn't mean that you should up it to a tablespoon or have a half a cup. Or, you know what? I'm just going to drink a Coke or a Pepsi or whatever. I think we have to be realistic with what we're looking at. Like, some of us, a teaspoon of honey might trigger us to have a pint of Haagen-Dazs or whatever, right? So that's just how you just have to know yourself. And I think just because that's how you handle it, and I'm not talking directly to you, Karen, I think if that's how you as a person handles it, that doesn't mean that that's how everyone else is going to handle it, because not everybody handles food the same way. We all know people who can take a bite of something, go, that was good. I haven't had that in a while, and then just walk away. While somebody else will have a bite, go, that's so good, and then just go, Cookie Monster it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah. But I kind of wonder that too. Like, I kind of think that, and I've said this before, so if never being in ketosis is bad, is never being out of ketosis bad? Or always striving to be in ketosis and you're not an epileptic? Is that bad? These are questions we have to ask, because we don't have answers. We don't have that data. We do know inherently that if you are never in ketosis, or you eat a diet that doesn't promote ketosis, you're eating 1,000 carbohydrates a day, and your body never has a chance to get into ketosis fully to burn any fat of any substance. That's bad. But we have to then, that begs the question then, what is the adverse, or what's the opposite of that? If you are always keeping your body in a low carb ketogenic state to the best of your ability, is that bad in the long term? We just don't know yet. It may very well not be, but it's always a possibility that it could be. We just don't know. And to think that there's no way it could be bad for us is the same way we got in this trouble and this mess in the first place. People said, oh, we're having heart attacks. And Ansel Keys says, I'm pretty sure it's saturated fats. Saturated fats. Yep. So we're going to take them out of our diet. We're just going to slow down eating meat, cut saturated fats, up the grains. And everyone goes, okay. And that's what we did. And that's why we got in this mess. So I think we should be very cautious, even with things that work. Rightfully so. I mean, we have our hypothesis that keto, carnivore, and everything on the low carb, proper human diet spectrum is what we should be and what is a proper human diet. And it seems to be working for most of us. But time will tell, right? The long-term impacts, the long-term data will show us, right? Let's question everything. We have to. We can't take everything at face value because there are people out there selling snake oil that sounds legitimate. So, like, I've been seeing a lot of ads, and I'm going to see if I can find it here. I've been seeing a lot of ads for Primal Queen stuff. Primal Queen, and then there was another one that another brand that Chris sent me, but I can't think of the name of it. It's not necessarily relevant, but they're like a organ supplement that are targeted to women. And Shanda's been having, long-term issues where she hasn't really lost a lot of weight on this diet, this lifestyle we've been doing for 9 years. And I kind of wonder, I've been thinking, is that going to be something that can help? But they're like on deep discounts, $45 for a month's supply. That's a lot of money for us. So I did reach out to Primal Queen to ask them, and we haven't solidified anything, so there's nothing to tell, nothing to talk about. I was like, I have an idea. I want to see maybe if, my wife, Chandra, was able to take these for a couple of months, and maybe we document that. How would that work? Could we maybe strike a deal? We make content. We talk about your product. That's how this kind of works, right? Not looking for money, maybe some free products, see if it helps her. And then it might be something that we add in and start buying. And I mean, because there's always a part of me that thinks that kind of stuff is snake oil, right? Like, I kind of think like, I mean, I know that beef organs and organs in general are good for us. We're told they're better for us. And I think that we're lacking in that, but it's hard to convince Chandra, or it's hard to spend the money. That's $45 for 1 month's supply is a lot of money. And I know our health is worth so much more, but are you sure spending that money is actually going in the right direction? So those are the questions that we have, what I mean? Let's question everything. So that's been on my mind, like I want to try that, and I need to maybe look and see if I can't put something together that would be similar for, like get the things off of Amazon and see if you can't, like, do you get these beef tablets? I mean, probably all expensive, but, like I said, maybe find a way to do it to where it's helpful but doesn't cost so much. Becky's here. Good morning, Becky. Even though it was like 37 minutes ago. I am behind, Debbie says, I eat vegetables and I ain't going to stop. Never going to stop. Never going to stop, says Debbie. And I agree. If you like vegetables and you don't wake up in pain, have fun. Go ham on it. And I think that's the attitude we should all have. Do vegetables bother you? Then don't eat them. There's Rick, Mr. I'm having difficulties talking today, ladies and gentlemen. I have been awake for a very long time. My apologies. Whew. I did get a nap in yesterday afternoon because I knew I was going to have to drive to Bloomington. That's where IU Indiana University is, to go do this deal with my boy, and he wanted to get some Legos. He got this Lego set. It's an AT-AT that's like a foot tall. He got 3 sets of Legos for like $200, his money, and I think they were worth like $400 altogether or whatever. I don't know. He was happy. He thought it was a good deal to him, so we went. I was just there to make sure everything went off without a hitch, if you know what I'm saying. Patricia Hoffman says the Romans had honey and made cakes for dessert. Queen Elizabeth the First had black teeth because she loved sugar. Oh, yeah, and I mean there was like chocolate drinks even before that, like hot chocolate. Hot chocolate was a drink. Like, let's see. So, when did chocolate originate? Chocolate's history stretches back over 3,000 years, with evidence of its origin in ancient Mesoamerica. The earliest known users, let's see, the Olmecs around 1500 BC, who consumed it as a ceremonial drink. The Mayans and Aztecs later developed their own methods for cultivating and consuming cocoa or chocolate, often in bitter spiced beverages called, I'm probably going to just butcher that or whatever, right? 3300 BC, earliest evidence of cacao domestication in present day Ecuador. So like 3300 BC, that's a long time. Chocolate's been around longer than sugar, right? Not really, but I'm just saying. Um, yeah. Debbie says, Evelyn, I'm not always a breakfast eater. Sometimes I'm not a breakfast, but like the last couple of days, I've been getting up and having sausages before I even have my coffee. I just can wake up hungry, you know? There we go. Ash Taylor's in the house. She says, good morning, crew. Hope y'all had a great 4th. I hope you did too. America. Yeah, Patricia said rice was grown in the low country of South Carolina with free labor. Oh, yeah. You understood the assignment with free labor. I understand what you're saying there. That's just because. Let's see. Rebecca, thanks, Patricia. Yes, a lot of people commented on this. It's just Dustin is a little bit behind on the chat. Yeah. I'm always behind on the chat. That's what happens. Because I like to talk. I'm long-winded. Long-winded. And Ash is replying to Grandma Patricia. Mel is good. We just had our breakfast and are cuddling on the couch watching Uncle Dustin, waiting for Dad to get up. She says hi. Oh, Melly Mel, that's a good girl. It's been hot out. I hope she's had plenty of ice treats. She needs those to stay a good, healthy puppy. Brenda says, at a family function yesterday, they had potato and macaroni salad, mashed potatoes, mac and cheese. Said it was for the kids. I noticed that all they ate was the hot dogs with no bun. Funny. I love that. I love hot dogs. I do buns sometimes. Sometimes I'll have a hot dog with a bun. I can't say that sometimes I don't go to Costco and get one of those hot dogs with a bun for $1.50. But I love hot dogs without a bun. I do. I dip them in. Yesterday for my food that I had yesterday, I made 10 hot dogs. So it was a pound of hot dogs. So 10 hot dogs in a pound. It was about 10 total carbs because they're just Oscar Mayer. I'm not made of money here. So I get 2 pounds for $5. So they're so $2.50 a pound. And I make 10 in the air fryer. I had 10 in the air fryer, and I mixed chili garlic paste with mustard and some dill relish. And it was phenomenal. I love it. It's so good. It's delicious. I love it. It's a little spicy. It's got the the acid to break up the fat in the hot dogs. It's just a great flavor. I love it. If I had some onions, that would have been really good too. I love onions. Becky said, we don't eat processed foods in our household. Time consuming to cook and more expensive, but it's worth it. My joints don't hurt anymore. Yeah, 100%. We try not to have as many processed foods in the house. Our boys, on the other hand, pack the freezers full of all kinds of trash. But that's, they're 25 and they're dumb. You know what I mean? 21 and 25, they're dumb. What do they know? They know better. They seen me. And I talk with them about it, but they're not ready to do that yet. It's just whatever. But that's why I try to eat whole foods and I try to make it as easy and simple as possible. Hot dogs in the air fryer, frozen burger patties in the cast iron. I have like a 4 or 5 pound roast to cut up. I need to get a meat slicer. I need for you guys to tell me, because all the meat slicers that I see on Amazon look like they're really just designed for lunch meat, but will they still cut through like a chuck roast? Obviously, no bones, like a boneless chuck roast, and I want to shave it thin, like not probably not as thin as like Philadelphia cheesesteak thin, but close, because I like to freeze them in about 12 to 14 ounce Ziplocs so that I can freeze them and flatten them, stack them, put them in the freezer. So that way I can have stuff for Shanda ready to go for her lunches. I can cook them up quick. She likes it. I like my burger patties. She doesn't much care for frozen burger patties. So I make her that roast stuff, and I eat burger patties because I prefer those over the roast. So that's relatively simple. I really just open a Ziploc and rip it and then pop it in there, salt it, little garlic powder for her, and I cook it up. So I was just kind of like, how easy can it be? And if I could get a hold of like $100 meat slicer, that I can save myself time and energy, because cutting through those like that, that chuck roast or whatever, like there's like all the slimy skin fat stuff in there, and it's hard. Like even with a good sharp knife, I've got the knife that I got from Chris. I'm afraid to sharpen it because I don't know how. But I mean, it still makes light work of it, but still time consuming and tedious. So I would like maybe some kind of decent quality food slice or meat slicer that will cut through like chuck roast. I can make it real thin. I don't need to cut anything super crazy. You know what I mean? But yeah, I already read that one. And Evelyn says, thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you. I love that so much. Let's see. Debbie said, I remember hearing my great grandmother fried chicken and lard. They had their own chickens. I remember my mom frying things in bacon grease when I was a kid. She went to margarine because they told her it was best. Yeah. I mean, I remember my great grandma taught me how to cook with bacon grease, but then she was eating, margarine and doing everything that the dog, skim milk and all that stuff, drinking skim milk. Well, all because the doctor told her, she was like, okay, all right. They did it. They complied. They listened. You can see graphs of like meat consumption and, low fat diets and all these things that truly took off. They listened and they did it. Now we got to go back and fix it. How do we do that? It's like it's easier to fool someone than to convince them that they've been fooled. You know what I mean? Becky says, hi, Ash. Sorry I'm late. That's okay. We're all late. I'm really behind here. Debbie Savings mom went from frying potatoes in bacon grease to using Crisco, all because everyone was lied to. I remember my mom would make like her own version of Texas fries. Those like basically like cutting like a potato into like 8 pieces and frying it in Crisco. It's weird to think like, how negative, like lard, like, oh my goodness, can you believe lard and butter, like everything, like cooking it in butter, really, all that butter, oh, it's just crazy. It's so crazy, and trying to backpedal and reverse that's so hard. And we got a legitimate uphill battle, like on a lot of fronts. We've got the seed oil front, margarine, which is a seed oil, but you know what I mean, people don't necessarily see the same thing. I mean, you can't go to the grocery store down the salad dressing aisle and find 10 items that don't have seed oil in it. Even the ones that say olive oil and avocado oil. They're not only those things, there's seed oils in there too. They're all cut with them because profit margins. Becky says, anyone heard about this sugar diet? I thought I saw it on YouTube last night before I turned off my computer. I'm not laughing at you, Becky. I'm laughing at we talked about the sugar diet a little while ago. So the sugar diet is just one of those things that bodybuilders and like people who are in great shape have been talking about, and they're talking about, oh, it's so great for leaning out and all this stuff. And then a lot of other creators have really latched onto, and then other people have in our space have latched onto and are trying it. There's probably 1,000 videos out there now about the sugar diet from various creators, whether they're pro or anti-sugar diet. Some people did it the way that they're technically supposed to do it, with fruits and stuff, and some people were doing it with candy and soda. It's just kind of like a blip, I would say, in this community. That, I mean, could it help you? Maybe, but I don't think it's worth the risk. I don't know if that answers your question, but yes, we've heard of it. Evelyn said, I remember being forced to sit at the table until the plate was cleaned. Eat your veggies. I like not having to force my kids to eat foods they don't want to, or even eat at times they aren't hungry. That's the thing, with a young kid, especially one like our granddaughter who's really skinny. She's not always hungry, and when she is hungry, it's hard to tell if they're telling the truth that they're full or they just would rather be playing. It's like a constant, like, she kind of grazes and stuff. So, like, and some days she eats and some days she doesn't. And I try not to be too like, okay, have another bite of eggs or have another bite of sausage, at least making sure she's getting food. But I mean, if you let her, she'd eat her body weight in potatoes every day. She'd eat hash browns and French fries. Those are her favorite foods, are hash browns and French fries. And we do give them to her, you know? Yeah. Because her system works good. Like, let's see. Sean says, wow, we need a doggy CPAP machine. Our little Lily is sawing some serious logs right now. Oh my god. Risa's here. Good morning, Risa. There's Jerry. My good friend Jerry is here. Good morning, everybody. 7 hours, 40 minutes of sleep last night. 1463 steps only yesterday. But aren't you just had your hips replaced or something like that, or something with your leg? I think that's fantastic. I think you did a great job, and you actually got some good rest finally. I'm proud of you, Jerry. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. It's good, positive news. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Ash says, I take ancestral supplement, organ supplements, and have seen great results with it. I want to talk to you more about that because I want to see if they're going to be appropriate for Chandra. Because I know there's the Primal Queen, and and that was, I couldn't remember the name, but Chris told me about ancestral supplements, and I looked them up or whatever, and I've been getting like text messages like twice a day now. So that's kind of annoying. But like, I can look at my text messages right now. I can tell you what I get in text messages. It's kind of ridiculous, really, what happens. Primal Queen, 54 minutes ago. Cash App, yeah, that's fine. Nectar, I was looking at a bed. There was like a deal, but I like looked at it to find out that it was like $4,000. I was like, that's not better. Chalk Zero, Ancestral. Yeah, I just get like so many. Yeah, so many texts on all these things. It's crazy. But yeah, Primal Queen, and I'll get texts. And I mean, it's been the weekend, so I imagine sometime tomorrow they'll start popping off even more. But yeah, I have questions. Let's see. Debbie said, I only got 6 hours of sleep, not enough. Risa says, I've heard great things about Primal Queen. I don't use them, but sprinkle pluck seasoning into a lot of dishes. getting organs that way. Okay, that's something else to look into. I'm trying to find ways to get organs into her food and my food too, really, because but I mean, I'm more prone. I need to find I need to go to like the Asian market and see if I can find some things that I'm looking for. So I'd rather not order them off of Amazon if I could help it. I want to find cod liver because Chris said it was good, and I'm going to listen to Chris because he's my buddy, and he would never steer me wrong. I hope not. Hope it's not like he's not trying to punk me. I'm like, oh, he's like, I mean, that's not how our friendship is based, but I mean, it's just, it's like when everyone's like, eat cod liver. It sounds great. It doesn't sound good. I remember he brought it up, and I was like, everything I've ever heard about cod liver, but I was getting cod liver and cod liver oil mixed up. So I'm like, there's songs about cod liver oil. Woo! Jerry says, funny, the Mayo Clinic registered dietitian told my hubby that carbohydrates must be 45 to 65% of his total daily calories. That's what she's probably legally obligated to say. Oh, I wanted to look something up. Let's see. Is there or are there let's see. So I was wondering, can you become a dietitian in the keto or carnivore thing? But I'm kind of curious because how does that even work? Let's see. It says, yes, there are dietitians in America who specialize in or have experience with keto and carnivore diets. While the carnivore diet is more controversial and less widely recommended by mainstream nutrition professionals, there are registered dietitians who work with clients interested in these approaches. Some RDs may work with patients on a ketogenic diet for specific medical conditions like epilepsy or metabolic disorders. Let's see. Yeah. So it's like finding a dietitian. I guess Dr. Kiltz has on his website. Dr. Eads has a list of dietitians specializing in ketogenic diets, online directories, professional organizations. Yes, I was just curious about that. Because Lexis Jones said she wanted to become a dietitian, and I was curious if it was even possible to find or become a carnivore or ketogenic dietitian, if that was even legal. I mean, it's just, I thought they had to follow certain guidelines, and I imagine they probably do, but it's just one of those things to truly think about. I don't know what I don't know. Debbie says, Ash, I wish I could find a couple of supplements that would give me what I need and feel good. I want everything I see. That's how I feel like, but everything's so expensive. And being healthy shouldn't cost so much. Being sick's expensive, being healthy is expensive. You can't win. Dying's expensive too. Everything's expensive. Let's see. Hmm. Jerry says, yeah. Teresa, pure pluck is the secret in my roux gravy. No one knows. Sherry says, I woke up early and listened for a bit, but fell back asleep. Dustin's voice must be soothing. Good Sunday morning, all. Yeah. Welcome to the soothing sounds of this goofy person myself. I'm a goofy person. I'm a goofy goober, yeah. And Jerry's asking Ash if Chris ever used the pluck that she sent. Sherry says, my mom used to save the bacon grease so I could take it to the ranch and put it on the horse's hooves. Let's see. Hey, Jerry, we have it. He's planning to try it on a particular recipe, so stay tuned. All right. Hoorah, hoorah. I plan to try putting some of the, I'm probably going to try, probably tomorrow, putting a scoop of the keto brains in Shandra's coffee to see what she thinks about it. Um, and I'll probably have maybe a sip of hers, but I just don't like sweet coffee, and it's a sweet creamer, I think. But you know, I'm gonna give it a try. So we'll let you know what we think, Jerry. Um, Debbie says, Dustin, it really has been hard to reverse our thinking between losing weight on low fat than going keto. Yeah, I mean, it's so different. And Becky says, thanks, Dustin. Lily Kane and Neely are doing sugar diets now. Well, Neely's kind of doing it in a smarter way. She's doing it more like fruit based, and she's been kind of backing up and adding more carbs into her diet. She's been working with somebody on that to see what happens. And I think that's good. As somebody should really kind of be trying new things, like, yeah. And I think like if you want to like, I'll tell you what. So one of our favorite kind of cheat meal or off plan meals is Thai food, and it's rice based. So there's rice, coconut, milk. We like the yellow curry. It's spicy and coconutty. There's like little slivers of carrot in there. There's some potatoes in there, chicken and onion, and it's so good. And I never feel bad when I eat that. Like the next day, I don't feel like I'm having like. Whenever we eat the Thai food, I don't have the feeling next day that I need to go and eat other bad things. Like it's like, okay, I had my Thai food, I'm good for a while. It's almost to the point now where I don't think necessarily because it's primarily whole food. It's potato, it's onion, it's some, coconut milk made like sauce or whatever that's made. It's spicy, and and you put it over rice with chicken. You have it with beef too, but I think chicken complements the flavors better. But I think it's a whole food. It's a relatively whole food dish. I mean, is it as probably whole food if I would in Thailand and get it? No, it's a restaurant. They have margins, and you know what I mean. Would I get better Like would I get better yellow curry in Thailand? Probably, but I don't have any. I don't feel bad the next day, and it doesn't make me feel bloaty or all that stuff. So, like, I think there is something. There's some whole foods that are fine. I'm gonna do eat it all the time. No, one, it's expensive for us because I mean we'll go and it's like $50. We just can't afford that. 50 bucks is like 4 steaks. But Mary T, I haven't seen you in so long. I'm glad you're here, Mary. Thank you for being here. She says late to the party. Well, better late than never, my friend. Thank you for being here, dear. I love your bright smile. It's so beautiful. Let's see. Becky says I like eggs and meat. I can eat 4 eggs at once. Well, depending on like if I just have eggs, sometimes I'll whip up like I'll eat a dozen eggs by themselves. But if I'm having meat with the eggs, usually a pound of beef, 6 to 8 eggs, typically, just depending on how I feel. Debbie says Lily Kane is doing the sugar diet now? Question mark. Wow, that surprises me. She was so strict the other way, and I think so. I mean, I know that she's been adding fruit to her diet. I thought like fruit and honey a little bit, but again, someone like her, she's metabolically healthy, right? And she's thin and she's active. That's like Paul Saldino surfs like 8 hours a day, so he can eat. I mean, he's eating fruit, and it's probably not impacting him at all. If I was exercising 8 hours a day, if I was in the gym all the time, or if I was working out like, say, Dr. Baker, for example, Dr. Baker works out and he's shredded. If he added some fruit, it probably wouldn't negatively impact him at all. You know? I mean, he might, the carnivore police might show up and have a talk with him, but I mean, outside of that, I think as active and as much as he works out, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think, that's like how that and most people that are like that, like they're really putting in the work. And I don't think it's that big. I mean, realistically, for most of us, should we eat that way? No. But if you're surfing 8 hours a day and you're shredded and you're buff and all that stuff, it's probably not a huge deal. It might catch up with you if you slack on the working out, Jerry says, yes, sir, I'm a hippie, left hip replacement, and our group is doing a 10K step challenge. Eek. Yeah. Evelyn says, Nisha says the only difference between Primal Queen and Ancestral supplements is Primal Queen does a better ad campaign. Yeah, Primal Queen's hitting it hard. I get ads like every other. I get so many ads, and I'm seeing all the creators who do ads for them too. So they're hitting it hard. So and I see an ad that says like the Ancestral has like 2 more organs in it or whatever. But I mean, does that matter? I don't know. But they are, I mean, and the colors are bright. They've got the purple and the yellow, and it's very contrasty. Oh, but ancestral supplements is much cheaper, I think. Let's look that up. Ancestral supplements. Let's see. They're $48 full price, I think. I don't know. Is that the female version? I don't want to know the mystery. That's what I hate when I go to these things. Are like mystery discount reveal. No, just show me prices. You've already got my email. Stop. Okay, that's irritating. Stop it. Ugh. I don't like that. That just like didn't do what I wanted to do. I couldn't look at it at all. I'll look that up later. I couldn't see how much it costs. Mary says the sugar diet is crazy. The sugar diet thing is crazy. When does it have to be, or why does it have to be one extreme or the other? Can't us long-term keto folks just have a little fruit seasonally, call it a day? I agree. I totally agree. Brenda says, does Equip have the organ supplements? I do not know. Becky says, what organs are you talking about? I like liver. I eat cod liver straight up from the can. Shanna's not going to eat any of that stuff. So a supplement's going to be the way we go. So I've been trying to look into that because she doesn't care. And I do. And I've been researching her stuff for so long. And 5, 6 years ago, I listened to a podcast with oh my goodness, what's her name? Let me see. Amy Berger. She was talking about, and she listed off everything that Shannon has, like always cold, always tired, all these things. And it was like, she's like, get your hormones checked, go get a panel run. And like now with like own your labs, like, why couldn't we go and do that? You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy. She won't eat that. She won't even eat sardines. Sherry says, that is good, Ash. Thankfully, it's not too bad here. They're fine with gunshots, thunder, though. Fireworks are a big fat no. Sorry, Risa, it sucks for them. Like, that's the thing is like weighted blankets, that kind of stuff. I don't know. But our 4th of July this year was really tame. So much different than years past. Risa says, I try and not bother myself about what he doesn't like to eat, but he has been eating a salad or what veggies I put with dinner. Took years for him to try them. Yeah. I mean, if I made stuff that, if I made things with, if I made stuff and Shannon would probably just eat it. If I mixed liver in with beef, she'd probably just eat it, wouldn't even know. But then, I mean, if she found out, she'd probably be kind of mad at me. So, I mean, I got to be careful because she's scary. And, the Pharaoh grandma's in the house. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, Debbie says exactly. Everything is expensive. Oh, so expensive. Jeremiah. Morning, buddy. Morning, everyone. Thank you for being here, Jeremiah. I'm glad to see you, my buddy. Jeremiah is a good friend of mine, but I don't think he's a bullfrog. He might be. He could just be wearing a human suit. He could be a bullfrog wearing a Jeremiah suit. Let's see. Yeah. Sugar diet is insanity. Evelyn says, I love my first cup with keto brains. Yeah, I'm going to try to see how she likes it. Man, I've got a lot of coffee in here. Debbie has not yet tried keto brains. Well, Debbie, like Jerry was so very kind and she sent us a whole bag of keto brains. So I'm excited to see how Chandra likes it in her coffee. We'll see if Chandra's very picky and finicky. So the likelihood is great that she won't like it. So just to be completely upfront and honest, if you ever wanted to go into our food reviews, I know we have some. Let me see if I can find. Let me see. I'll see if I can find playlists. Uh, that's not what I want. I guess I don't have all of the. I got to go and put all the keto reviews into a playlist. I don't have a keto review playlist, I guess. So I'll have to do that. But we reviewed hundreds of products and she didn't like any of it. Like most of the stuff she didn't like. I mean, that's even a running joke with Chris over at Keto Chow. Does Chandra like it? Well, then he's just going to discontinue it. She liked coconut cream pie, and who knows if it even is going to come back. Don't know. But I did buy her like seven little bag or 7 pouches of it. So we'll see. We'll see how she does it. Thomas is in the house. Target Prime Rib. Hello, my friend. How are you doing, buddy? I was talking about your live from earlier this week on Wednesday with your talk with Lexus and how great that was and how very how informative it was and like how impactful her story was. So hopefully people go back and watch that. And Mary says, I agree. We can do a higher carb whole food meat now and then, especially those of us who have been doing this a long time. It's what we do day to day that matters, not sometimes treats. Yeah. And I was saying earlier before you got here is the fact that, like, how do we get more people healthy in this, in the Western world? And really, if we could just get a majority of people onto a whole food diet, just get rid of as much of the processed stuff, as much as the soda, not even relatively high, not necessarily super high carb, but not necessarily low carb either, but just, meat and eggs, bacon, potatoes, vegetables, doesn't matter what kind of vegetables, potatoes, whatever, carrots. Just like when I was a kid, like, make roast potatoes and carrots with some onions in there. Stuff's delicious. And I don't think that that's what's causing, like, our metabolic disaster. Like, that's not what's causing the obesity epidemic. It's, you know, French fries every day, and the snack foods. Like, you have to have snacking all the time is huge. Like, always putting some in your face, because, like, a bag of potato chips is not even as the same amount of potatoes as, like, a whole potato, right? I mean, maybe might be. I don't know. I don't know the equivalent or whatever. But you couldn't probably eat 3 potatoes, but you could sure eat a bag of potato chips. You know what I mean? Like, it's just how we consume those things. Like, my grandmother used to, like, pressure cook potatoes and green beans together, and I love green beans. I have a whole bunch of cans of green beans in the pantry. I forget about them because we don't eat a lot of vegetables, but I think if we realistically could just get more, if we could get a bulk of the people on a whole food diet, not even low carb necessarily, and I'm not talking, just overall, we could probably make such a big difference in everybody's health. It may take them longer to lose weight than if they're doing low carb or keto or whatever. But if we could just get more people away from the sodas, but then again, I'm not a fan of regulating all that stuff either. I don't think I wasn't a fan of taking that stuff off of Snap, because I don't think, like, it's, and I know that's a controversial take, but I'm a very hands off kind of person when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like, either you're going to give them the benefits or you're not. If you're going to give them the benefits, let them buy what they're going to buy. Don't be a caveat or whatever. And I know whatever's healthy, not healthy, whatever. But if someone needs the help and you're giving the benefits, let them buy what they want. They're not buying. Let them buy rotisserie chickens, but it doesn't mean they can spend it at McDonald's. You have the power to do that kind of stuff. Like, like, I wouldn't mind if people could use EBT to buy the rotisserie chickens at Costco. I mean, I don't know how they're paying for the Costco membership, but that's neither here nor there. But it's what it is. I don't know. Yeah. Jerry said keto brains didn't take sweet at all. Well, let me look it up and see, because I don't even know what's in it. Let's see. All right, let's look at Keto Brains ingredients, and I'll find out. It says Keto Brains nootropic creamer contains MCT oil, organic coconut milk powder, lion's mane mushrooms, alpha GPC, and L-theanine. These ingredients are so I guess it isn't sweet. I thought it had a sweetener in it. Okay, so maybe I will try it. I'll give it a try and see what I think. I thought it had a sweetener in it. If it doesn't have a sweetener, then I'm okay with it. I just don't like sweet coffee. Yeah, I really don't like sweet coffee. I was looking for there's that. 4 grams total carbohydrates, 2 fiber, total sugars less than a gram. Okay. All right. So that's a lot different than I thought it was. Okay. I understand now. I thought it had a sweetener component to it, but okay. Yes, it does not. I was mistaken. All right. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Becky says, I too have rice pilaf with black rice, cauliflower, coconut hearts, coconut hearts of palm, pine nuts, roasted chopped other nuts with garlic and white onions. Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Like I miss rice. I really do. And I would probably if I thought I could handle it more, I'd probably eat it, but I'm still not where I need to be. So I have to be very cautious about that. If I was in shape, then I would probably be more inclined to have some, you know? But I miss like jasmine rice. Rice was so good. I just don't, like, and I mean, I know there's countries that eat a lot of rice or whatever, there's whatever, but you know, it's a whole food. Like our wheat isn't even wheat anymore, but Evelyn says, I've used Keto Brain since KPL 23. The first time we tried it, we shared a packet the morning of the walk. It was great boost. Okay. All right. Okay. So I learned something I didn't know. I was mistaken. Baby T says, I love you too, my friend. Miss all my American friends. I sure hope some of you will come this way someday. Not sure when or if I'll be coming south again, if ever. I don't know. I mean, things are wonky. We'll figure it out. Debbie said, that's true about Lily Kane. She is really healthy. I hadn't thought about it that way. Dr. Barry wouldn't agree, huh? He is very adamant about carnivore, though. I think I just see like, I don't think I think, he agrees with some of the stuff that Saldino says. And, I don't think like, and I imagine that he's probably not too concerned with people doing the sugar diet if they're in excellent metabolic health. That's kind of like the people who were initially promoting it. They're in the gym and they're like basically gym rats. Like if you understand like bodybuilders will work out hard and then eat like Skittles. It's kind of the same thing. Okay. Risa says Keto Brains is not sweet. I put a scoop in the morning cup and can't tell it's okay. All right. Becky's asking what is pure pluck. My understanding is pluck is a seasoning packet made of organic meats. And that's what Evelyn says. Okay. So, all right. Risa said Wendy and Harry stopped doing the sugar diet because it made Harry's triglycerides go up to 700. Oh my goodness. But were they eating candy? Like, were they doing fruits? Like, watermelon didn't do that. You know what I mean? Like, I would love to have a nice, like on a hot summer day, have like a nice ice cold cantaloupe or something. You know, I'm not above that kind of stuff because, like, I never ate enough of that stuff to begin with. It's not really a trigger for me. Oreos were the trigger. You know what I mean? Oreos and cookies and just sitting down with an entire bag of chips or a whole sleeve of crackers. Organ meats. Okay. All right. All right. Organ meats. Jerry says, question. Someone said that their watches registered their steps. Mine doesn't because at work I work with my hands. Nothing registers unless my feet are moving. Bought mine last year on Amazon before my back surgery. Excuse me. Now, like mine won't register steps if I'm pushing a cart. It's kind of a combination because there's like GPS tracking in these. Like I have my watch is a Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 Pro or whatever. I think that's what it is. We've had it for a couple years. Since midnight, I've had 1,400 steps. The weather is currently 73. The battery on this is 86%, and today is 7:03, and it's 10:25 p.m. But or a.m. You know what I mean. But I mean, you can kind of cheat it. You can be on like a skateboard, and just move your hand, and it'll count steps or whatever. I mean, you know, mine counts steps. How accurate it is, no idea. And I mean, I don't even put mine on in the very beginning of the day. So like I still move around. I'd only put it off if I'm leaving the house, really. I'm still dressed from leaving the house yesterday. So Mary says, talking to Debbie, but no one was more surprised than myself how good Keto Brains is. Got a sample at KPL, didn't try it until I got home, pay the shipping to Canada. That's just how good. Okay. And we'll try it tomorrow and see how it works, how it tastes. I'm a simple man. Risa says, I bought pork belly at Costco the other day, cut it into chunks, cooked it in the air fryer, great heated up, and eaten with my scramble in the morning. Oh, I love pork belly cubed. Oh, it's so good. No. So Karen at Low Carb Spin is asking, has Shinra had her cortisol tested? You would think that she'd have anything tested, but she doesn't ever get anything tested. I wish she would do that, you know? Evelyn said, just FYI, Coach Bronson and Coach Nat have been giving away a big bag of Keto Brains during their Sunday lives. They pick a random person and then give it to them. I'll try it again and see what we can do here because I always try to link their channel or somebody's channel that's going to be live around them at the time I'm live. But when I went and set this up, they didn't have it set up yet, but we'll find out here now. They should, if they're going to go live, they'll be live in about 15 minutes or so. Let's see. There we go. There we go. Episode 69, Akita Fitness Success. But their fitness has 3 S's and their success has no U. So I don't know what's going on with that. They spelled it all wrong. So they're going to go live, and I'll double check here in a second to make sure that they're going live at the appropriate time. Just to make sure. I don't want to like step on their toes, but I'm not necessarily that like in a hurry. Yeah, 10:45. So they're set up to go live in like 15 minutes. So we'll talk. We're already at 3 hours, and I have just a little bit of coffee left. So yeah. I'm glad. I'm so glad. And it's always good to see new faces in my chats. I know I've seen you in other people's chats. Let's see. Jerry says Pure Pluck is only Oregon blend, no salt, no spices. I give our dog a teaspoon daily on her dog food. That's kind of cool. Sean said, oldie but a goodie today for breakfast. Apple pie keto chow waffles this morning. That sounds good. I've only had apple pie. I think I had it as a creamy. Let's see. Evelyn made lemon meringue chaffles with blueberries a few days ago. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Thomas. So Thomas is having a sore throat. But other than that, he feels fantastic. Well, hope that goes away soon, my friend. Look at Shelly King hitting us up at the last hour. Look at Shelly King in the house. Good morning, friends. Welcome, welcome, Shelly. I'm so glad to see you, my dear. I love my friends when they come to visit. And sometimes they're probably already gone before I even reach to them. Mary said, yes, preach, my friend, whole food. It's the manufactured crap that's killing us. When we started manufacturing food and then begin eating it yeah, I mean, it's such a thing though, because like we're such a busy consumer driven like thing, families, both people have to work or they can't afford anything. So I mean, there can't be somebody, I mean, in our household, I'm home. So I do all the cooking and, I'm suck at cleaning, but I do what I do, you know what I mean? But I'm home all the time. So I handle all that stuff. But, and I do all the shopping and I do, and Shannon just does what she needs to do. And, it's kind of like a traditional, old school kind of like, I'm barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen, but, and that's okay. But we'll see how things go. Um, but yeah, I mean, most people barely have time to even eat, let alone cook or even prepare. But I mean, even if like you could legitimately like, I know like people go on like, oh, how unclean like Costco rotisserie chickens are. But it's leaps and bounds better than so much other things that could be eaten. If you pick up, like, if a family can like add a couple of those into their meal a week, their rotation every week, they'd save so much money, time, energy. I mean, they don't even take long to break down. You can usually break them down in about 5 minutes. I usually buy two at a time, break them down, put all the meat in one bag, and then cook them up for breakfast and stuff and put them in eggs and stuff for Chandra, you know? Sherry says, I had been whole food this whole time eating this way, but now I am even more only eat the whole foods. I used to only look at processed foods for the carb count. Now I look at the seed oil. Oh, yeah. I mean, the evolution of everything that we look for is insane. Yeah, Thomas says maybe someone else get to them a Costco membership. Realistically, you don't even need a Costco membership to shop at Costco. You just got to have someone who has a Costco membership to buy you or get you a Costco gift card. So you could take your Costco gift card. So say you are a family and you're struggling, or that there's a family that's struggling or whatever, and they're on food stamps or whatever, EBT or whatever you want to call it, right? And you say, okay, you give them a $50 Costco gift card, $55, whatever. That's like, you can, that's how many rotisserie chickens are they going to get? 10, that's what, 10 rotisserie chickens? $50, 10 of them, 10 whole chickens. That's huge. That's a lot for $50. 10 chickens for $50. That's a lot. You're getting like 3 steaks there for $50. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Shelly says, I don't think keto brains is sweet. I was just under the impression it had a sweetener in it. Kind of light, airy coconut dusting. Start with a half a serving. Well, I drink a coffee that's this big. So I'll maybe start with a half scoop and see how I feel. Ash, we love you. Have a good one. We'll see you soon. Make sure Chris knows he's loved and that Mel gets her ice treats today. You're probably long gone and not hearing that, but that's fine. Brenda Foley says, I can buy Keto Brains with my HSA, put it in mine and hubby's first cup each day. That's one thing that I was kind of curious about. Since I am curious about becoming a health coach, is there a way to provide your health coach services where someone can use their HSA card? I got conflicting information online. If any health coaches may want to help me with that information. And I imagine if I am able to take the course, if I am selected and can come up with the money, raise the money for me to take that course, then I'll probably, hopefully they'll help with that information if they've even thought about it. But I am sure it's something that they think about because HSA is so important. Risa says, Keto Bread is mildly coconut flavored. Don't really notice it in my coffee. I have tried products that are similar, like Four Sigmatic, and I like that too. So I've added just like the mushroom coffee blend to my stuff before. I didn't notice a big difference. Mary says, I'm growing cantaloupe and watermelon this year. Such a hot summer. They were going crazy. And we picked pounds and pounds of raspberries yesterday. Bumper crop. Oh, I love the garden. Now we go through like blackberries and like I buy nectarines for our granddaughter, and she loves fruit. So she loves strawberries, blackberries, nectarines, grapes. And I just don't think that all the necessary. I mean, if she only eats fruit, then sure, it's probably not that great. But we try to give her eggs and bacon and other meat and sausage and stuff. And she's a relatively keto baby. Well, she's not a baby. She's almost 7. But you know what I mean. Sherry says, I wear a Fitbit and doesn't want to count steps when I push a cart either. I just jump start it by pushing it with the other hand. Yeah, I try to do that too. I'm not that concerned about it, really. It's just not that big of a deal. Let's see. Yeah, fresh berries. Oh, sounds so good. Risa says, I use the activity tracker on my Apple phone, keeps the phone in my back pocket at work, get over 10,000 steps just doing my work. Used to use a Fitbit, but can't wear watches or Fitbit at work. What do you do where you can't wear a watch or a Fitbit at work? I can't remember if you have some kind of specialized job or something like that. That's weird. Let's see. Sherry says, I've been making strawberry, blueberry, protein, cottage cheese, ice cream, kind of dessert every evening, not making me gain weight and so good. That sounds great. Evelyn says, Mary T, I grew up near Chicago, but our yard used to be where we were underwater. We really had rich soil. My mom's garden was amazing. Yes. All right, everybody. I'm going to get to the end of this chat, and we're going to call it a day. We've been going for over 3 hours. I am beat. I did not expect really to be able to get this far, but I'm glad all of you were here. And Sherry says, I don't consider eating a cantaloupe or falling off the wagon, but I eat quite a bit of fruit. Yeah, I think, it's fine. Shelly says, when I scrubbed into a case of an OR, I will put my Apple Watch around my ankle. Okay. Okay. All right. I love all of you. If you're using your phone or whatever, go over and watch Coach Nat and Coach Bronson. Tell them that I sent you. Tell them we're sharing the love, everybody. Thank you for watching over on on X and Rumble. As again, I switched over to Rumble just because Facebook was only keeping lives for 30 days. So it was kind of a pointless endeavor to send them there if they weren't getting engagement and they weren't going to be there to be found later. So I've been streaming to Rumble because it gives me a platform over there. Hopefully people watch it. I'm not even getting too terribly many views, but anyway, I love all of you, Andy and Mary and the Farrell grandma and Risa and Susan. I hope you have a great day, Susan. But anyway, all of you lovely faces, Brenda and Sean and Evelyn and Shelly, all of you wonderful people. I love each and every one of you. And with that, here's the credits.